What's up, and welcome back to the channel. You were listening to Ninja Night. This is Real Talk 6. So the 6th episode of this show. As you know, love it being here. Love being here every Friday night, 7:30 Irish time. I know people in the chat are going, hang on here for a second, Ninja. It's actually 7:45. You're 15 minutes late here. What's going on? Yeah, just bear with me is all I'm saying. This is a one-man operation, it is, and it takes time to put some stuff together. It also then helps out with our big... Hang on, I'm looking at something there in the chat there. Huh, that's interesting. Okay, so I was just looking at something there. A couple of people chatting in the chat there. So, look, here's what's going on. We've got some interesting stuff going on this week. We've got some interesting stuff that's been happening over the last week. And what we'll do is we'll actually check in on what's happening here with relation to Ireland and, of course, then the wider world. A couple of people are letting me know what's going on in the chat. They're saying there's a couple of issues there with something. I hope the sound is okay. Sound okay, guys? Is all right there with the sound in the chat? Just double checking here, making sure everything's okay, because you can see the chat flowing along there. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, we're all happy days. So anyway, what I was saying to you was everything seems to be really good here at the moment in terms of the maneuvers, I should say, the momentum that's happening with the people. The people are actually very strongly going along with, a lot of people shouting out there saying 5x5 odds going there with the sound, so it's all good, happy days. It's when I see the chat flying along, I'm like, something's up, something's going on. So everything's going well momentum-wise. I'm going to show you a couple of things that I have tonight video-wise. We've got Derek Bloig that's putting out some bangers of videos, and I mean, it has been for quite some time. And what I'm going to do is now, I'm going to show you throughout the stream a couple of the videos that Derek has been putting up, and also then some of the stuff then from Off-Grid Ireland. Off-Grid Ireland are doing a great job with putting out content, especially as well, sharing what's going on around the place. So that's highly important. It's highly important that people do that. It's very important that you're sharing as much as possible with all of these videos. And what I always like to say, and I like to just give that mention here tonight, anybody that's sharing videos out there, I appreciate that. And I don't know where all of those videos come from. So credit to whoever takes them is what I say. What I like to do is I like to talk about what's going on in the videos. I like to give my opinion on the videos. And then also then obviously as well, let you know exactly what's going on from my interpretation of what you can see in videos. Because you get people in the mainstream media, for example, that will say things and say, oh, this is how this looks and all that sort of nonsense. And I'll go, well, no, that's not how I think it is. And I'm finding that a lot more people are actually going along with that and saying, yeah, that sounds good. I really like what this guy is saying instead of what this mainstream media is saying. So that's highly important. Do you know, I'm just after noticing there as well. I'm after noticing there that the icon has gone live. It has. That's an interesting thing that I'm seeing. That is very interesting. I haven't seen that before. So have people gotten notifications for tonight? I don't know whether people have gotten notifications for tonight and let them know what's going on there. Just let me know if that's a positive thing that's happening with you. Because like I said beforehand, guys, when it comes to these pages and stuff like that, I'm very aware, and people have been making me aware that they haven't been getting live notifications. So please do let me know if that's an issue for you, because it lets me know exactly what's going on when this platform decides to mess you around. I'm closing in now on 6,000 subscribers, which I'm very happy with, obviously. But obviously, as well, what's more important, and I think what's something that I think is very imperative, is that the message is hammered home. You see, I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast this week, and he was talking to PBD, Patrick Bet-David. Now, I've talked about that guy before on the PBD podcast, and I've talked about him. He does the PBD podcast. But I've also talked about him because he's a guy that is very interesting with how big valuetainment have become so quickly. And when I mean that, what I'm saying to you is, I'm just going to see the chat going. The chat talking about, try that in a small town, it's a great tune. But Patrick Bet-David was talking about certain scores. We'll be talking about them tonight as well. But what I think was important about what he mentioned was these scores that these companies are given, these ESG scores. Now, if you're not familiar with that, become very familiar with them very soon, because a lot of these companies are operating because they're between 3 to 4 mega corporations that are above them. And when I say mega corporations, I mean trillionaires. So if you can even conceive about how much money someone that's a trillionaire has, It's inconceivable. And what an awful lot of these people result in is they decide to go towards, hey, we're going to go and tell people what to do, because that's how a lot of these people get their jollies. And in fact, you know that that's how they do it. You know that. And something that Patrick Bet-David said, which I thought was very interesting, was he said, I guarantee you, he says, guys like Larry Fink, for example, are going around to different heads of state and saying to themselves, like, this Larry guy probably, he's probably thinking to himself, I could do a better job than this guy. And when you apply that across the spectrum of what you're seeing right now with the politicians, is there any wonder why we have an awful lot of garmless, lacking individuals? Because I'm sure that that type of dude is rolling into town going, I know I'm calling the shots here, I'm going to tell you what to do. I mean, can you imagine Michael D. Higgins standing up to anybody? The guy is 4 foot nothing. You're not standing up to anyone. You've got Micheál Martin, a fella that I'm sure shares similar characteristics with mice and rats, I'm sure. Where's the spine? Do they have spines? Like, what's going on? I'm not a biologist, but what's happening there? You've got Leo Varadkar, another guy, a guy that's basically like a chameleon, just goes along and changes the appearance for whatever it might be that is propped up upon him at that moment in time. Yeah, no, I do support it. I hadn't seen that yet. So it's always playing the politician, like, never a solid answer. I suppose you got a solid answer there last weekend at the Gaelic Games, didn't you, when you seen what he was doing there when the lads were giving the speeches? Interesting stuff there. But anyway, going back on this, I'm sure, like, and that's something I've been talking about and saying to people for a while, that there are guys that are above these people, trillionaires. I mean, if you can even conceive of what sort of money a billionaire might have, a trillionaire is just another step ahead, like, and are miles ahead. And this is what it is for them. It's a game and they enjoy it. I'm going to pull up an article here tonight. And again, it was Patrick Bet-David that talked about it. He did on Joe Rogan's podcast. I'm going to pull it up here tonight and I'm going to show you. And it shows you the way these people think. Because a lot of people, myself included, for a very long time, were sitting there and saying, what motivates someone to do something like this? Like, you've got Helen McEntee trying to push through a hate speech law. You've got Roderick O'Gorman and the various members there of the government that are flooding our country full of migrants. An invasion, in my opinion. You've got Gardaí turning the other way and I mean, that's the most unbelievable thing of this whole situation, is the stupidity and the willingness, and as Satirical Soldier likes to say, the sheeple. These people that are just going along, that don't want to look at what's actually happening and bring it to task, instead of just looking the other way, protecting the system. Suppose you could look at the Matrix and say, well, it's a very similar thing. Fighting to protect the system. You have no clue about what they're doing. And this links me in then with the likes of entertainment. I mean, I was watching The Dark Knight again. And the Joker, I have to be honest with you, it's just a character in that movie that has aged so well. 2008, I'll show you a quote here tonight, I will, from him. And I'm just like, just accurate. Nolan was ahead of his time. Or maybe in the club. Maybe he knows. Do you know what I'm saying? And you get drip fed an awful lot through entertainment. So look, these are how things go. But I want to be talking about some of these big boys now tonight. Like, we're going to talk about George as well. They want to keep him out of people's mouths, but we're going to talk about him. He has a daughter, by the way, and his daughter now is stepping up and starting to make noises. There during the week, WHO, they appointed the daughter of George, what was his name there? John Kerry. So I think he was a senator, I think, from somewhere. Was he Georgia? I'm not really sure. I'll have to look into that one. But John Kerry was someone that ran, if you remember, for election for president probably 2 cycles ago, maybe 2-3 cycles ago. He ran for it then. So you'd be familiar with that name. That's a guy as well that's interested in all the climate stuff as well and has gone around on private jets and the likes, and then last couple of years has been letting Republicans know that their opinions and their votes don't really matter. So America has been an important cog in the machine for an awful lot of people for a very long time, particularly corporations. But what has actually happened and what has transpired is these people obviously didn't like who was running the show for 4 years. They were Orange Man. Now, your opinion is as good as mine insofar as if you like him, you like him. If you don't, you don't. There's things I like about him. There's things I don't like about him. Like, I don't like the fact that he keeps talking about a certain country beginning with I and keeps going towards them. Don't like the fact that he keeps saying, oh, I did these Voldemort things really quickly. It's just like, that's going to come back to haunt you, dude. I mean, everybody knows what's going on there. But were you part of the plan? Who knows? But the most important thing is America has shown the entire world, whether on purpose or by design how ridiculous the system is. Like, we looked at America and we saw what happened in 2020. There's actually no way, there's absolutely no way that old Joe did what they said he did. Not a chance. Absolutely no chance. And what has happened since then? Well, we started to see that similar sort of trend happen across this side of the world. You see, when France goes to a vote, everyone boos Macron everywhere he goes, but oddly enough, re-elected. You see people here in Ireland, they are spoken to in specific ways around this country, but they're re-elected. It doesn't seem really fair. It doesn't seem really honest, does it? And then you see what happens. And to be honest with you, if the Yanks knocked the door down, well, the Brazilians came through and just absolutely took the foundations out from the whole system. And they showed with Bolsonaro, with them removing him and putting the fella in that's been up to all sorts over the years, they showed exactly what's going on. Because now this sort of stuff is on around the world. It's on. They are up for this sort of stuff here. And what you were seeing is an entire society that these people have cultivated for a very long time that has no morality, it has no principles, it has no courage. You know, I've said it before and I said it previously about Braveheart being a favourite film of mine. And when you have William Wallace, you know, when he goes towards the front lines, they say, "What are you doing, William?" And he's gone over to the bridge. "No, I'm going to pick a fight." You see, we like movies like those. We like movies like Avatar as well too, because they're the underdogs, the rebels, people that band together and end up winning in the end. Same with Star Wars. That's why it was a very specific thing that they did with destroying that franchise and many others that are around it. They try and take hope away from people. That's the ultimate aim, and just go, "Oh, it's totally hopeless that we can do anything here." So you've got, for example, and this is something that Patrick Bet-David said, you've got these trillionaires as well. We'll be talking about them throughout the stream, that have in and around the same GDP that countries like America and China have. Now, you think about that for a moment. These people are super wealthy, that they're even more wealthy, and in most cases, more wealthy than most countries in the world. So when they roll into town and tell people what to do, they're just rolling over and saying, "Yeah, no problem at all. Okay." Because these people are being bought. And I mean, that's something is, again, I bring it back to entertainment, that the Chris Nolan Batman movies did, showed how easy it is for these people to do that. So we'll be talking about that tonight. So I like to talk about financial stuff as I'm going along, because these things are there and are designed for a reason. Now, as I said, when you have the sheeple that are playing their part and trying to protect this system, you know, it's amazing to me when you see the Gardaí taking and fielding questions from people, locals that are concerned, and they're almost... Listen, I saw 2 videos this week. I did 2 female Gardaí that were answering questions for people, and they were only short of rolling their eyes they were at the people. You know, this is part and parcel of the problem. Like I said, the Gardaí are not going to get much support anymore, and that's pretty much on them. You know, I've done my part. It's a far as saying, look, you know, you've got to show up, you've got to do something, you've got to look at these people that have been up to no good in this country and are continuing to be up to no good. You can't investigate them at all. No. What you're aiming, or you're going to go down to Ballybrack and get mouthy with the locals. Like, you know, that's where a lot of people have turned away and just said, that's it now, I'm done with it, you know. And their recruitment drives are going to be low. That's the aim of the game, by the way. They're doing this for a very specific reason. They're trying to delegitimize all of these services, you know, the Defence Forces, the Gardaí, and various other services as well too. I mean, you've got the health services in trouble now too, because they're going to start putting in these quotas as well. And guaranteeing you, they start putting in these ridiculous quotas. Not the best surgeon or anything like that. No. Have we got 3 black women that are surgeons around here? That's what they'll start doing. Have we got 15 women? And of course, then you'll get a fella that'll be thinking ahead of the game, and you go, I identify as one. So that's exactly what you'll get then as well too. So they're continually going down clown world, and it's not good. Hospitals, by the way, this is something people keep forgetting. Hospitals are a business. Like, they make their money out of patients being on beds and on trolleys and all that. Everybody knows this. When you enter a hospital and you get seen to and you go out, there's a bill waiting for you. You're paying for that. It's not free. So these people saying, keep the hospitals empty and all that is absolute codswallop it is. These people want these places to be full. They want people to have a high turnover. You're out there seeing there that Kamala Harris only last week was talking about reducing carbon, and was talking about that, and actually said population reduction. She actually said that. Like, This is how brazen these people are, that they're out there now telling you, you are the carbon that they want to reduce. Now, if you ask me, and it's something that I would share the opinion of with Satirical Soldier also, you've got a lot of lefties that are out there and you're like, okay, if you're talking about them, fire ahead. There was a number of comments as well too, under the Lynn Ruan video that I did. And a lot of people were saying, hey, it's funny, isn't it, that these people all have these type of ideas for others, but never actually do anything and avail of these type of things themselves. And I said, well, I was thinking that. I was certainly thinking of that. But like I said in the video, and I think it's something that has to be remarked upon again, we have now known and will forever know that ugly leftist women should be nowhere near a position of influence or a position of power ever again. There was a number of women underneath that video that were actually they were coming into the comments and saying, hey, I don't think now women should be anywhere near positions of power or influence. And I was like, well, you look at history and it actually doesn't bode well, I would say. I don't think it bodes well. I mean, everything that you know throughout history, empires, dynasties, whatever it might be, who are they headed by? Well, you know yourself. You're seeing what has happened now to the world. And I'm not saying this is just a female thing. It certainly isn't. It's a male thing too, because you've got an awful lot of beta soy boys running around in certain positions, happy to go around and say, oh, yes, that's a totally good idea. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. It was very refreshing, I have to be honest with you, on an off, suppose, topic point, but something related. The way Nate Diaz spoke, and it's a joke nowadays, the fight between him and Jake Paul, but the way he spoke in that, not a fiddlers did he give. And I was just like, that is actually amazing. The way he talked. He was calling Jake Paul something that rhymed with maggot. And I was just like, well, that's very interesting, because when is the cancel culture brigade going to come along? Or they can't when it comes to that type of game. Because masculinity is abound in that sort of profession. You're seeing in other ones, it ain't the case. And they're trying to push it out as far as possible. You're seeing a big recruitment drive now for the defence forces. They were saying that there wasn't enough women that applied to the defence forces. That's ironic, isn't it? And then they put up a subsequent article, we'll see it later on, that said they were looking for chefs. And I was like, well, if they were looking for women, you know yourself. All jokes aside. But a lot of people commenting underneath that video there of Lynn Rowan saying, yeah, I think you might be hitting the nail on the head there, Ninja. You're looking at Mary Lou saying ridiculous things, Michelle O'Neill saying ridiculous things, Helen McEntee saying ridiculous things. You've got Breed Smith saying ridiculous things. What's the common denominator? Yeah. Now, again, as I said, you've got beta soy boys without any spines there behind them. You know what I mean? You've got Pierce Doherty there that's happy to be behind Mary Lou McDonald, Down O'Brien. You've got there the likes of Paul Murphy, of course, there. You've Leo Varadkar. You've got Simon Harris. You've Simon Coveney. You've got Stephen Donnelly. You've got Micheál Martin. I mean, a slew of these individuals that you wouldn't pick in a five-a-side are people that are making decisions, and very detrimental decisions for the people of Ireland and for future generations. Because that's the thing, and that's what a lot of people look at. They say, hey, this isn't just for now, this is for later. Because when your country's being overrun, it's very difficult to overturn that. But I do think it is going to happen. What we're looking at here as well too, we've got Rockus that sends in a super sticker. Got Jerome Reed, he says, have a nice weekend, Ninja Night team. Jonathan Ross sends a super sticker. Fanal Moriku sends a super sticker. Thanks very much, guys. Much appreciated. Love the stickers. Right, we'll jump into some of the comments there and say hello, because I've been talking there for a little bit and I just want to make sure everything's cool in the comments, how everybody is. Make sure you at Ninja Night in the chat if you have a comment or a question or anything like that towards the end of the show. You know, I read the comments out then if you're new to the scene. We've got End of the Line Joe says it is no surprise that we've got that. I'm talking about that tonight, actually, funny enough. End of the Line Joe, he's talking about what's going on in South Africa. So Elon Musk has been calling that out too. So that's a good thing. And I mean, of course, he'd be very aware of what's happening there. Mark C says, how late will Ninja be this week? 15 minutes, wasn't too bad. End Line Joe says, don't forget, no matter if they replace Drew Harris or Helen McEntee, there are 1,000 more EU forum stooges ready to take their place. That's a very important point there, End Line Joe, and that is very true, because that is exactly what they want to do. They want to just move these people on, and when they move these people on, it's just the next person in. It's a rotation job. You know, it's kind of akin to, and I suppose I'm bringing it down to a very, very basic level here. Football managers, when you swap them, like it's like Manchester United at the moment, like once the Glazers are still there, it's still going to be rinse and repeat. Like they're not going to go anywhere, Manchester United. They're not going to be challenging for the league title next year. It's very unlikely. I mean, if they do, it'd be unbelievable. However, it's not going to happen because the owners are still there. So it's just going to be rinse and repeat. And at some stage, which is probably likely it's going to happen either this season or next season, players will down tools and Ten Hag will be moved on. And it'll be just the same again. That's if they don't get the sale gone. But like I said, with politicians, it's exactly the same. I mean, everybody remembers that fella there. What was his name? Was it Eamon Gilmore? Is that the right one I'm thinking of now? The Labour fella. He came out so winging. Said great things about the government insofar as he was saying what they would do when they were going to run the show. And then when it got time to him being in government, kept stum. Just done what they were doing. And for these people, like you said there as well, who ended the line job, they just toddle off then to Europe and hope that they're forgotten. And that's it then. The mess that they've created here then gets forgotten after 6 months to a year. Quick swig. But it won't be anymore. Because you're looking at what's happening now in the new age. You've got people now that are remembering. Who was pushing forward that hate speech nonsense? I can tell you, is it? Well, should be remembered for that. He was also facilitating that. Well, Heather Humphreys, Simon Harris, the entirety of the Dáil, as a matter of fact, because most of them voted it through, including Sinn Féin. So let's be not mistaken when it comes to these places. These people are all compromised. We're talking about the National Party a little bit tonight as well too. They've had an interesting turn of events over the last week or so. That's been something else to view. Steve Dixon sends in a super sticker as well too. Much appreciated. We've got a lot of love in the chat there for people. Air Force says, longer he takes, the cooler my beer gets in the freezer. Enjoy the beer. Tricky Woo says, hail the Irish. Jerome Reed says, how are you boys? Tricky Woo says, let's roll ninja. Let's keep going. Here through the chat there. Evening Patriots, we see in the chat there from Steve Dixon. Good to see you. Eamon Barrett is in here, says, good evening. Nosy Person says, evening folks. Erda Abu says, hello, Patriots. Let's keep going here. Air Force says, bang of Imperial leather soap and brew can smell it from here. No, Eamon. Eamon Barrett says, you're the boss ninja. 5x5, everyone's happy with the sound. Sounds good. Okay, I was just making sure. Had a couple of technical issues over the last while. Steve Dixon says, Gardaí have been banging out of order lately. Yeah, I'd tend to agree there, 100%. Jerome Reedy says, Sean Mack, have a good long weekend also to Ninja Night. Air Force, you're not the only one late ninja looking in here. Not sure what's going on there. Let's keep going here now and see what's happening. SGD is in here as well too. Says good evening all. Derek McManus is in here. Says hello. Says YouTube shenanigans are inevitable and Fred. And he's doing some great stuff there as well too in the chat, letting people know what's going on. So we good day says, Ninja Night, isn't it funny how try that in a small town is istophobe and incitement to violence, but delete the farmer that is a white ranger. And I quote, it's just a song, it shouldn't be taken literally. Exactly. And Joe Rogan pointed this out on the show, and I agree with him, which was they're very upset about try that in a small town. But how many songs, rap songs, are out there that are glorifying other very negative things? I mean, drill music as well in the UK is another bad form of music, I would say. It sounds awful, it does, but the thing is, they're also saying things. I heard a song not too long ago, I didn't, it's one of these, I don't know whether he's a descendant. Well, I mean, he probably is a descendant of African people, whether he's just come, but he's put on this kind of, Stormzy accent, we are here, man. And you're like, what? Is that Jamaican? What's going on? But anyway, they were talking about, the colonizer, and it's just like, hang on, whoa. You're talking about a colonizer in your video, mate, are you? And yeah, okay, right. But you've come from Africa and you're now living in England. That doesn't make any sense. Like, if I have beef with people that are from China, I ain't going to go and live in China. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I feel like that they've done me wrong, I'm not going over there and living there and going, these people are very bad people, whilst there. Well, you see, as we know, what's the facilities like in most of Africa? They're living in palaces, surely. I mean, they keep telling us they was kings, in the ancient Egypt. But they don't seem to be able to rebuild that, and that's very similar to that anymore. What's the story of that? Why are they living in tin sheds and motor hoods? I don't know now, guys. I don't know when you're saying, hey, the colonizer, and then you're living in England. I don't know if you make total sense there, pal. Alina says, Ninja Night, no notifications. Absolute nonsense. People are saying they got notifications, other people saying no. Sean Max says, I just went onto YouTube expecting you to be live as per Friday night, Ninja, but again, no notification. it's an absolute joke, honestly. But thanks everybody for letting me know, because that's something I can try and log with this company and say, oi, you're not notifying people when I'm going on. Joey Lawless is in here, says Ninja Knight, the ESG score is communism for corporations. Yeah, and it has them under a big time. Like, it's really amazing to see how easily these people have been compromising these companies. It's something else. But then, like, obviously, because I'm interested in companies, and insofar as like even Hasbro, seeing the people that's leading them, and then I see the 3POA podcast that talks about action figures that does, and the fella that used to work for Hasbro, Bobby Valla. You're getting a real insight into what's happening there, because Bobby Valla's like, these people are all clown shows essentially, and they're just yes men, nodding dogs. They're just happy to go along. Now, Bobby was let go from Hasbro because he was asking questions and wanting better products for the fans, so that meant that he was surplus to requirements according to them. But like, it's a real inkling into rabble rouser here, trouble starter, insofar as like if you're asking questions, and you see the same sort of stuff here. Paranormal Channel X says, hello, all mads, chatters, and especially Ninja. Hello. Good to see you here. Good to see you here. Welcome, as always. A couple of people are having a laugh there in the chat there with what's going on. Okay, so we'll jump into, we've Tank Inc. says, you up the lads. We'll jump into our, hang on, I'm at seeing Ferg in the chat there. Ferg, the powerful Fergus Power. Ninja Knight, great to have you back, brother, and good evening to all you beautiful patriots. Wishing you all a very blessed weekend. I'm still a bit banged up. Nothing will stop me fighting. Era forever. i.e. absolute legend. Absolute legend. And best of luck, Ferg. You're doing unbelievable work there. Ferg, if you haven't got content on your YouTube channel yet, will you please put it up? It'd be a pleasure to be able to share that around and let people know what's going on. And especially, you're gaining real momentum on Twitter. Fergus doing amazing numbers on Twitter. He's doing amazing numbers with likes. He's doing amazing numbers with shares and subscriptions. It's brilliant to see. And I have to be honest with you, I hope that you do set up a channel, man, and start posting your stuff out there. Gavin Pepper as well should be doing the same. I'm loving the videos that are being put up by Satirical Soldier too. He's putting up banger after banger. It's unbelievable. We've got Zoe Day in here. It says, Ninja Knight, also interesting to note that there is literally zero evidence for, let's call them certain chambers, if you catch my drift. Yeah. We're starting to look back at certain events now in history, and people are looking at it and they're like, well, I'm not sure really whether that happens the way you said it did. And the good guys won every single time. What are the odds of that? And the fella who started it, where did he go? Oh, you have to take our word for it. That kind of seems familiar, doesn't it? Didn't they do that with the fella there that orchestrated what happened in New York that time, like Cobra Commander? Didn't they say the same thing about him? Oh, we couldn't bring him back. We got sorted. We sorted it out ourselves. All right. And who was that involved at both times? It was the Americans. That's weird, isn't it? That's a weird quinky dink. But anyway, I don't know whether anyone saw this. They did, but on Twitter there during the week, they had Nick, if you know who I'm talking about, a fella who was very prevalent in America, and he was like, they want me to feel bad about a guy that lived 100 years ago that did nothing to me, but he's like, the people that are doing things on the streets right now are the people who are affecting me. And I'm like, the media are going to take that and run with one of the points that he made. But the thing is that he wasn't wrong, like insofar as what he was saying. He was saying was, don't worry about, well, I mean, obviously be concerned about what's happened in the past. But he was like, there's people out there actively calling for example, repeal the eighth and stuff, calling for people to be just living degenerate lives and promoting as such. And he's like, these people are out there in existence now, and they're doing things that are wholly negative. And he's like, but you want me to feel bad about a little Austrian fella from 100 years ago? Like, it's just not happening, according to him. So, I don't know. I think I look at things like that and I go, well, that makes sense. I look at those things and I go, well, who else then? Who's running the entertainment industry? Who's running the banks? Who is running a lot of these governments? What do they all have in common? And like I said beforehand, all I'll say is this: if these were all Irish fellas running around these things and doing all these things, you would have to come back to the point of, hang on here, there's an awful lot of Irish that are involved in this nonsense. And I think that's the difference. Of course, as you know, certain scriptures don't let you point that out, and certain sites aren't letting you point that out either. Viva Fry came under fire there last week or the week before, and I think it was Andrew Torba was the one, because Viva Fry decided to take a pop at Andrew Torba because Gab here, that's ran by Andrew Torba, is a Christian site, Christian founded, and it is also something that is very interested in free speech, and it doesn't hamper you from talking about certain people. Now, Viva Fry was very interested in making those people to be something you couldn't talk about on Rumble. And this is a fella that's running around pretending like he's for free speech. Like I said before, you can't trust Ben Shapiro or anything like that. They're two sides of the same coin. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep an eye on these people for sure. And that's why now the history books are starting to not favor them, because people are starting to look around and go, hang on here. Listen, put it like this. If you were banned from 109 pubs, would you think that the pubs were the problem, or would you think that you're the problem? You know? I'm sure you would think that you were the problem, wouldn't you? Well, it seems like certain people don't think that. And I find that to be very strange, because if I was banned from 109 pubs, I'd start to go, well, maybe it was me. Anyway, we keep going. So the Joker, this is something I wanted to point out. I wanted to point out this, and I think it's a brilliant, brilliant post here. And it just links in what went on in America in particular. But it's very applicable to what we're seeing now. I mean, the Joker throughout that movie shows how corruption in Gotham is a very, very big ploy. Shows that Batman is basically aiding by defending certain established pieces of society. And again, Harvey Dent is one of the characters that the Joker ends up utilizing towards the end to win. I mean, the Joker wins in that movie. How does he win? He wins because the boats, if you remember at the end when it's talking about, and again, this quote here comes into play about people and society. The boats at the end, the convicts are definitely thinking about pulling the trigger, but so are the other people on the other side. The only reason why it doesn't happen is because the guy that is standing up to do it feels guilty and feels like he'd be the one to do it. However, if you remember in that scene, the boat actually votes for them to pull it. So for the convicts to go down. So they actually did what the Joker wanted. And then at the end, and of course, then Harvey Dent does turn heel, goes bad. And that's someone that's supposed to be seen as some of the best that has been utterly corrupted through a means of, I suppose, coercion and what has happened to him personally. Now, when the Joker does that, and he also then shows that money is no interest to him, that's someone that can't be bar off, but it's someone that's just a willing agent in what's going on. And it does show you that he was correct about what he was saying, that people can be bar off in the movie. People can be, he doesn't value life in the movie. He doesn't think life is precious or anything like that. And a lot of these people at the upper echelon don't either. That's why Gotham is allowed to keep going the way it's going. And similarly enough, you're seeing an awful lot of very strong comparisons and parallels here. You've got a political, I would say, and people are starting to change the terminology now, which I like. People are starting to stop calling these people elites. They're calling them scroungers. They're calling the political class scroungers. And that's a very interesting take, and it's a very interesting shift, because language and words are super important there with what's going on. Of course, information is very important. And then, of course, then you've got a lot of people there, for example, over the last few weeks, and Ballybrack was a real showing of it because it was starting to get heated. I'm sure that there's people that were out there that were in uniform in Ballybrack, and I saw the faces, I saw the body language, and I'm sure that there was people there that were going, if this boils over here, then I'm probably going to get walloped here because we're outnumbered 3-1. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it should happen. I'm advocating for peace and respectable behavior. Of course, 100%. I disavow anyone that's doing anything negative, of course, and anything that's out of bounds. But there are factions, I'm sure, within governments that were like, oh no, because if that had went awry, which it was threatening to do, because you just got to look at the videos, in my humble opinion, well then you get people then that realize then, like in A Bug's Life, that there's more ants than there are grasshoppers. And that's bad news. That's bad news for the political group, because like I said before, Jocko Willing was someone who said it on the show and said, hey, if these people decided to, go against the people in the country, well then when the people in the country have had enough then and decide to do something like what has happened in Afghanistan or Sri Lanka, you're going to get an immediate 50% that are going to defect just from the bat, off the bat, 50%. 50% will remain, and some of them then will get afraid. So he's like, you can probably cut it down to about 25%, then that'll probably be on the side of the regime. And he's like, that's not a good number, because the remainder then ain't. So that's a guy that's a Navy SEAL that was talking about things like that. And I just thought that was interesting, because, again, he was proved right when it came then to Afghanistan. Afghanistan, you don't hear a word about Afghanistan anymore. Funnily enough, we're going to talk about here tonight, because they have 500 people coming from Afghanistan to this place. What do you think that they're going to be up to? Do you think that's the best of the best coming from that place? No, these are people that are actually scarping from that place, because they've decided to take the country over, and whether you believe it's right or wrong. And this is something I don't agree with, obviously, other religions or anything like that, because I believe wholeheartedly that Christianity is correct and it's the one true religion. That's how I feel. And that's what I believe. But the thing is that these other people don't feel that way, and they're doing things in their own country whatever way they want to do it. But like I said, it's up to them. So I was like, see, their morals, their code, it's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. Now, that's a very, very important quote there. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. Look how bad things are here in this country. You have people, and this is something that people that are older than me are for sure guilty of, and people that are my age and younger are guilty of. It's just the apathy towards badness, and specifically politicians that are up to no good. This apathy of, well, yeah, sure, look, they're up there with the foreign. That shouldn't be tolerated. And this is what I keep seeing on Twitter. And I like the way things trend. I like the way people get them going. But you've got people out there that are, and this is no slight or anything or dig or anybody, but you've got hashtag resign Helen trending. Okay, great stuff, great to see it, love to see it. But the implication there is that you're giving that person a choice. The trending hashtag should be arrest Helen. You know what I'm saying? Like, arrest Roderick, arrest Leo, arrest Mihal, arrest Stephen Donnelly, arrest Simon Harris. These are the things that should be said, rather than, well, we hope that you step down. They're not going to do that. That's like Harry Maguire at Manchester United. People are going, why can't Harry get out? Because it's very plain and simple. As explained by Ben Foster, who used to play for Manchester United. He said, sure, Harry might jeopardise his England place. He probably won't, truth be told, because you're probably one of the better centre-halves and defenders in England. And that's a fact. But he said Harry can sit on the bench or in the stands for 2 years to run down his contract and pick up £15 million. Now, he's going to get £5 million out of sponsorships. He's not going to get them sponsorships at West Ham and Aston Villa. So there's no good in anybody looking at that any other way than saying, come on, Harry, you better get out. It is wholeheartedly up to the club and the fans to say, you got to go out. The club should be making that decision. You're gone. You're out. You're surplus to requirements here. But they're not. They're going to go, well, you did sign the contract, and we'll let you do what you want. Player power has become a thing for sure. And similarly enough as well, too, in politics, all these people are running to cover themselves. Do you know how much fear it would put in some of these people if you start saying arrest Helen McEntee? If that was trending and started to get a lot of support, then these people would start thinking another way. Because why should we tolerate, as an Irish people, such open and obvious corruption that we're seeing here in this country? Why should we tolerate that? It is being tolerated, and this is why this quote is important. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. A lot of people have problems with on Garda Síochána and Tuesday. Why is that? Well, you remember what it's like for your own outfit, your own mate to come around and talk to you and say, hey, I remember what the Gardaí were like. There was no messing with them back then. And the morals and the codes that were in there were very important, and they were upheld. Now you're seeing people going in there and you're seeing article after article of nonsense after nonsense being carried out in these places. So, of course, then, when that happens and that goes on, people are like, well, and that becomes legitimized and that becomes normal. So, like I said, when you see all of this sort of stuff in, I would say, invading these places, like on Garda Síochána, when you see them going out in June and they're running around with the rainbow stuff, like the Defence Force when they're doing the same, then they are nailing literally their colours to the mast there and are showing you, and this is the reverse of a pirate flag, they are showing you who is running the show and what sort of ideologies that they're going to follow. You don't see any of these organisations raising up a flag and saying, this is super straight month, do you? None of them. All these organizations now and some politicians are actually saying to you, hey, it's istophobe to say Irish lives matter. Ireland for the Irish. I mean, Chinese lives matter. China for the Chinese. Japanese lives matter. Japan for the Japanese. We're all consistent on this here, by the way. Very consistent. Nigeria for the Nigerians. Nigerian lives matter, lads. You want to go with that one? No problemo. So here's the thing. When you allow this sort of stuff to be just nonsensical and pushed forward towards you, of course you're going to be dealing with nonsense. You're allowing this. So that's why these people don't like to see the pushback from parents and people like Andy Heisman that's turning up to libraries and saying, I'm not having any of this here now. Great stuff. Because that is a push from these people to say, let's see how much of these people are going to tolerate. Let's see what they'll deal with. And the same thing with the masks. You know, as I said to you before, I had friends of mine that sent their kids to school and some that didn't when it came to the masks, allegedly, speculatively. And they had a very strong feeling. Then my own old boy said, well, look, if you were in school, young ninja night, you wouldn't be going. You wouldn't be going in there to wear a mask. And so like that, if everyone took that approach, well, that wouldn't have been a runner then. But a lot of people did. And the same thing as well to society was when it came to all of this stuff here and mask wearing and all that, these people allowed them, and by, I would say, association, like you talk to people now here all the time and you say, what do you think the last 2 years? And they just look blankly at you and they go, and you say to them, are you going for your 5th or 6th now? And they're like, oh, no, I don't need that now. And it's like, why? They told you they just still need more. Because it's become something that's not in their face anymore. They're like, I don't want to know about that. I love doing that. I love saying that to people. Hey, weren't you one of those ones that was interested in all this stuff here? What do you think about this here now? And it's great laugh, like watching them try to legitimize what went on. You're looking at them going, holy moly. So I'll show you, when the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve. And boy, was he. Well, I should say Christopher Nolan, because, you know, actors are only saying words that people have written for them. And listen, I like certain performances, and I think Heath Ledger did a great performance there as the Joker. But likewise, I think it is important to read into what these people have been saying and how it has actually come to pass then in the real world. So what am I on to next here? So they decided to have some sort of nonsensical parade, I believe, in Cork there recently. So they were talking about people, you know, you had the month of June to do all of this sort of nonsense, but no. They've decided to extend it into July and August. And, you know, if you're gay, you're gay. I couldn't care less what you're doing once you're a legally consenting adult and you're doing it behind closed doors. But what you've decided to do is you've decided to come out into the streets. Now, I'm going to show you a video later on from Galway. And I'm just going to say this to you. There's two ways of thinking about these things. There's one way where I go, well, here's the thing. I don't like seeing people walking down streets doing all of this rainbow stuff. I certainly don't like that, Tom. I certainly don't like people walking along down streets shouting about, you know, things from the Middle East. I'm like, that's cagey, to be honest with you. But here's the position that we're in right now. You're in a position right now that's just going to have to sit back a little bit, I would say, because there's going to come a time, and it's on purpose, by the way, that this group that are out there running around with the rainbow flag are going to come into very real problems with the other group. And it's going to be interesting. You know, the rainbow problem may be solved sooner rather than later. And as I said beforehand, I know there's a number of people in here as well too that aren't fans of certain things from the Middle East. And I understand, I get it, because listen to what I tell you, there are things about it for sure that I wholeheartedly disagree with, and 100% I agree with you on that one. But when it comes to these people, they have absolutely no tolerance for it. So I'm looking at it going, well, this is going to be interesting. And it's there on purpose. It is there to cause division. Now, this is a guy. He's called Graham Manning. He's a fella that likes to get very mouthy on Twitter. Now, this is a fella that puts up a profile picture. And you'd be a little bit misled here by the images that you're seeing there. You see this fella here now that looks scraggly looking with the car doors open there. But the old profile picture on Twitter, the chap looks like, I don't know, Tom Hardy's Bane or something like that. And he says, I'm a big UFC fan. Now, I'd say he's a big fan of jiu-jitsu. He has the lads rolling around with each other and all that, you know yourself. But anyway, when it comes to these people talking on Twitter, and this is something that Tate's been talking about. There was a video that came out there last week or the week before, and there was three black lads that they approached, we shall say, a YouTuber called Neon. Now, Neon is what seems to be sort of an Indian-looking character. Well, the three black lads took his shoes off him, they took his glasses off him, they laughed at him, they mocked him, they ridiculed him. But a week prior, Neon had been calling Andrew Tate all sorts of names and had been saying that he would do this and that to him. I know, hilarious. A guy that's a kickboxer is apparently going to be beat up by a fella that was wearing a SpongeBob SquarePants t-shirt and is about as thick as a noodle. So anyway, what happened was a week later, he found out. He found out in real life. And see, this is what's happening on Twitter. And this is why the videos, I keep saying it, and this is what I'm going to show you as I'm going through tonight when I show you some of the videos from Derek Bloig as well. When reality sets in, this is why these people on the left absolutely hate Philip Dwyer, Satirical Soldier, Stephen Kerr from the Irish Inquiry, the Irish Git, and various other people that are out there, like Derek Bloig as well. They dislike them to an extent because they don't have the courage to back up what they say in person. They also then are people that will threaten all sorts they will online. And then when it comes to and what I normally see with these people for sure, when it comes to videos like this is, I was only joking. I was only messing. Look, oh, Jesus. And this is the type of people you're dealing with. Because we keep seeing it in America. You know, there's one fella that's great at doing it is Alex Stein. Prime Time 99, Alex Stein. Absolute legend. This guy goes around to different things and laughs at them, mocks them. And it's really effective because Alex, first and foremost, is a big dude. And he's a big guy. And he's there and he's happy to walk around in the middle of these people, go, look at how ridiculous all these people are. And you see it here. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is, look at this nonsense. Love is love. And the Pink Panther on it as well, too, there. So let's have a look at the video. Now, there's a couple of things I want you to pay attention to as we watch this video. And this is something that was also commented on online. Now, this is not going to... Who are you? This is not going to go away for this chap now because I've seen the Irish Git now. Shout out to the Irish Git. He does great work. I've seen the Irish Git that was straight in under loads of posts, just reposting this video. And it just goes to show you that these people won't back up what they say when you see them in person. And when they are confronted in person, they just go, oh, it's only joking. Two things I want you to look for in this video, which I noticed straight away. Now, I'm not a body language expert or anything like that, but I've been watching things for a very long time that I can decipher, in my humble opinion. Again, I'm not someone that understands what this man's psyche was like at the time. I don't understand what it's like most of the time anyway with some of the bizarre things he says on Twitter. But this guy, first of all, his eyes are frantically shifting to the left and the right. Now, as a man, I have seen this, okay? And what is happening there is a fella is thinking to himself, he's looking for escape routes. He's looking to go, where can I run to if this gets hairy here? That's what he's doing, in my humble opinion. He may say different. The voice as well raises about 8 octaves. Am I correct in saying that? Anybody that's out there that's a musician or anything like that, am I correct when I say that? Baritone, that's the opposite, isn't it, when it goes down? So it goes up to a very high pitch. Now, that is basically, and is, in my humble opinion, that is basically akin to rolling over, putting the paws up, and showing the belly and going, I'm not a threat. So I just want you to keep an eye on those two things as we watch this video here, because this is absolutely hilarious. So let's go.
Who are you? Oh, you should know. You're the one that said you'd see me here. I said that to about 50 fucking people. Exactly. And now you're seeing them all and you're fucking, oh, who are you? I'm not seeing them yet. Who are you?
So there you go. And these are the type of people that you're dealing. Look at this fella over here as well. My God, where's Wally in real life, is it? Without the hat or anything like that. Wasn't he the guy? Was this a guy, or was there some other person that was pointed out, by the way, by Derek Bloig? And Derek Bloig was like, look at that person there. And I don't know whether it was this guy, this Moby-looking character, but there was another Moby-looking character that was in the video that was caught saying very strange things. I will say that, to be honest with you, at the very least, because I can't actually share that video here because of the things that were said in that video. And it's quite telling. It's quite interesting, I have to be honest with you. But this is very characteristic of the left. This is the left's big man. This is the fella that likes to talk an awful lot of talk there online. Now, he would be akin to some of your other ones that are out there that spout out complete and utter nonsense and like to come into every conversation that's nothing to do with them, because here's what's going on at the moment, and I'll explain to you what's going on. I said it to you last week. People are looking now to get into these spaces. They're looking to talk to the likes of Satirical Soldier, to Toby, to Mick O'Keefe. They're looking to talk to Gavin Pepper. I'm not talking about the politicians that are in positions or anything like that. I'm talking about these leftists, these people that are out there that have made it their careers to go and harass and antagonize and to try and intimidate people that have noticed what's going on and have said something about it. They have made it their life's work to go and irritate people they have. So what has happened now is a lot of people, and I'm going to give you another bit of information now that I found out this week. A lot of people have decided we're not going to give them a voice. And they have said, right, I'm going to not have anything to do with it. Now, these people are desperate. For example, there's an old fella that Satirical Soldier likes to call Dusty. I won't follow up with what he usually calls him, but he calls him Dusty, we'll just say. And this fella is mad for wanting to talk to Satirical Soldier on one of the spaces on Twitter. So Satirical Soldier's like, yeah, no problem, let's go. And then your man shifted the goalpost. Well, if you do it in Irish, and Satirical Soldier's like, no, because anybody else that's listening in from another country, it would be pointless first and foremost to do it in Irish for that very reason, because it is fantastic to see leftists be exposed and be exposed to the widest amount of people possible. So that's why it won't be in Irish. That's just how it goes. And that's pure and simple. But of course, these people will try and go, you're not agreeing to my terms. We're not playing by your terms anymore. Your rules are done. You're living by our rules now. And what people have decided to do, and rightfully so, is go, no, I'm not talking to them. I'm not talking to that head the ball. We would have given them the time. And you're right. I've done it before here in this chat, and I've said it to a couple of people as well too. If you get any flaming leftists that come in here, boot them straight away. Don't want them in here. Look, get out. No interest in it. I've no interest in talking to or debating with stupid people, especially people that are out there that are interested in turning this nation into something like a cesspit for not only this generation, but future generations. And of course, as well, too, the older generation. People keep forgetting that too. You've got old people that are going around now that are fearful about going out. It's wrong. So I've no interest in people that are helping that along. I've actually completely the opposite way of thinking. I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with these people. Instead, what we should be doing is you should be gaining and building a popular momentum on this side of the fence, which is exactly what's happening. So that's why these people are looking to come into these areas and they're trying to say things. Get rid of them, get short of them. Now, that brings me to the point I was talking about earlier on. I found out during the week. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I would assume that it is very true and it is very accurate. I had said it beforehand that a lot of the big lefty accounts and stuff like that, I haven't got them anywhere near my Twitter. I just block them. Any of them that come up and just like block, get rid of them. And from what I understand is that these people, they actually then suffer when it comes to the algorithm. So that's why you're starting to see them now try to encroach in this side, on this side, I should say. Because what's happening is their influence is diminishing. And the reason why it's diminishing is, for example, we'll just take one individual, for example. We'll just take a pretend fictional individual, okay? We'll just say Lefty Ireland or something like that, right? If you have people that are engaging regularly with that account, it's going to be pushed up in the algorithm because the likes of the algorithm is going to notice and see, hey, this person is popular on Twitter because it's getting a lot of back and forwards and likes and stuff like that, retweets, quotes a lot, right? If you and 10 other people block that account, the algorithm then thinks, hey, there's something up here. This account is up to no good. So it pushes it down further. Now, that's something I'm not telling you what to do. I am not saying that you should do certain things here. But what I do is I tend to do that. I tend to go, okay, well, my reasoning would be block all of the lefty weirdos. You're going to see what they're going to say anyway, because the Satirical Soldier, in fairness to him, does put her up on the likes of Telegram. It's great for mocking and laughing at, But the important point is their diminishing influence is happening in real time because they are not getting the attraction, the likes, the retweets, the quotes, or anything like that they think they would. I'm seeing Ferg getting mad numbers on Twitter. Insane numbers. I'm seeing Toby do the same. I'm seeing Mick O'Keefe do the same. It's wonderful to see that. These guys are regularly getting more likes than sitting TDs, sitting ministers. It's insane. But that's the fact of the matter. And numbers are important because it's then showing you how many people are on your side. You know, when Micheál Martin throws something up there and he gets 102 likes, that's a fella that's second in command of the country. Leo Varadkar put something 68 likes. That's the guy that's leading the country. But you've got average Joe Normie that's getting 700 odd strong likes every single post. Well, I don't know what to tell you. So I must put this up here, and you've got this here, the New York Times. Now, the way that they reported this was this: fuels backlash. Right-wing commentators, or commenters, excuse me for that error, claim that an old anti-apartheid chant is a call to anti-who-white, but historians and the left-wing politician who embraced it say should not be taken literally. This is the same publication that was going mental last week about Jason Aldean's "Try That in a Small Town." They're the same publication that want to totally ghost. And see, Jason Aldean is an important marker for what's going on. But guess who else has been an important marker for what's going on? Tom MacDonald. He dropped a song there that I think 6 days ago. It has now amassed 6 million views as far as I can see from the last time I've seen it. I think it's 6.5 million views there. American Flags. If you haven't seen it, check it out. That's the type of rapper to be put on to people that you know and that you like. Put them on to Tom MacDonald. If you're interested in good music, and see, this is the thing. That's the type of angle that I was hoping that Versatile were going to take. It was going to go, and they do. Listen, they do. They do take shots at certain things. They do. But that's the type of angle that I'd be going if I was them now. If I was releasing another album, I'd be talking about the invasion of the country. I'd be talking about the corruption and what's going on. I'd be talking about the media, the whole lot. I would go out swinging like Tom MacDonald. That would be my go-to as to what I would see. Look, lads, if you are listening, it's unlikely that you are, but look at the numbers that he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Nobody cares about Eminem anymore. Nobody cares about Snoop Dogg. Nobody cares about these people. Guess who's getting a lot of attention now at the moment? Ice Cube. Ice Cube, I don't think, has dropped a song in years. Now, I could be wrong about that. But if he decides to put out an album tomorrow and is talking about what's going on, you know that that's going to go to number one. Now, people would say, hey, is he part of the gang? Possibly, maybe, who knows? But if you're independent, it's very difficult for people to attribute that with you. So that's what I'm saying about Tom MacDonald. He's doing a great job. So Musk here as well talks about this. The New York Times, of course, big issues with Try That in a Small Town, trying to pretend like American Flags isn't happening, try to pretend like most of the other songs that Tom MacDonald and Adam Calhoun, the music that they do, trying to not talk about them. Kid Rock as well. We don't be talking about that. Musk says the New York Times actually has the nerve to support calls for this here. If there was a time to cancel that publication, it is now. You can read their articles for free anyway using removepaywall.com. Brilliant stuff. Now, a lot of people as well will also say the same thing when it comes to the media here in this country. The media here in this country, if anybody doesn't know, allegedly, speculatively on this one, if you refresh a page on a media page and you click, when you're refreshing and you see the thing circling, if you click the X on that seems, now again, allegedly, speculatively, seems to stop ads on certain things. Have you noticed that with the media here in this country, by the way? Media have decided to go behind paywalls with an awful lot of things. Find that to be interesting, don't you? So let's keep going. Instagram Reel here. I've got this one here from Dunleary. Now, I'm going to try and show this here because I know sometimes Instagram is a bit hairy when it comes to these things. But I want you to see the behavior of a member of Gardaí Síochána. Now, another video came out recently, and it actually was something pretty interesting, I have to be honest with you. There was a Star Street report made by two women. Gavin Pepper was there as well. And they made this report, and to me, highly interesting because, like I said to you beforehand, you see the person behind the desk doesn't care. Now, I know people will be out there and say, well, that person's just picking up a wage. Of course, she doesn't care. I agree. It's not a local that's behind the counter. You know what I'm saying? Like, her attitude, in my humble opinion. Now, she might care. I'm throwing out opinions here. This is only opinion, speculation, allegation, the whole lot. She might care. But her demeanour is just like something from a Little Britain sketch, It's like, yeah, okay, that's terrible. That's the way it looks, So let's have a look here and we'll show you the video. Now, from what I understand here, this was Roddy Murray that took these videos. And Roddy Murray now has been grown big time. He's taken a lot of footage at these things, and I like to see what he do. because it's documenting what's going on. Now, his YouTube, I think, is going really well as well. And if anything that we need here, keep saying to people, more people on YouTube is highly important. That's why I'm calling for Ferg and for Gavin to be on YouTube, because your videos then are going to just go bigger and more viral. I'm seeing videos from Derek Bloy going really well too. So highly important. Let's see if we can put in some of the stuff here. If we can start from the start, I wonder. Let's see what happens. Hang on now. This is what you get with this Gonzo production. I have to restart. I have to refresh it. I do, because it wasn't ready. It doesn't let you pause. So let's have a look here.
The first question I'd like to ask is: were the guards informed of the migrants being placed in Dunleary in such big numbers?
Which one in Dunleary? At Bland Avenue?
Yeah.
I can't answer.
Which one in Dunleary? All of them. And then, I can't answer that. Why?
But honestly, I don't know.
So you don't
I don't know
whether you were informed or not?
And not at my level, I don't know.
You were not at your level.
That's been completely honest.
But you're a sergeant, so you would think you would be informed of an influx of people coming into... Okay, are we just finished now?
There's no point, discussing our practices with you.
So I don't know.
You're a public servant. That's what your job is to do. You have to explain what you're doing to the people. The people are the ones that are paying your wage. Like, this is the clown world that you're seeing. And like I keep saying, you're seeing people in positions, and fair play to the women that are asking these questions, because that's why women, and particularly women on this side of the fence, are important. You can't understand how important women are on this side of the fence. They're that important because when they go to things like this and they ask questions, very simple, obvious questions, it then puts them in a negative light in terms of the people in uniform, because it's easy then for the media to go, oh, that's just fellas going out and they're trying to bully a woman or that. Hang on, you said it's all equal. You said it's all equal, but it's equal when it suits you. Okay, that's what it is for you. So here's the thing. When a woman is asking these questions then and is putting you on the spot and is asking the hard questions, it looks really bad for you. Looks really bad for the organization. So this sort of behavior and just really like, oh, you're causing me a bit of discomfort here and a bit of a problem. I don't want to be really doing this. Like, you should be out there in a uniform. All of them should be doing this. Should be out there going, we wholeheartedly and totally agree with the people and their feelings and their sentiments when it comes to this. Instead of, oh, no comments, nothing to say, PC answer, been told to say this, briefed on this, what to say to people. Absolute nonsense. Where are the spines amongst these people?
These are just the questions, and we're just going to ask the questions now. We're not going to. Okay, number 2 is who conducts the vetting process, and why are there so many undocumented single men being brought into this country and into our communities?
Again, that's a political question.
That's a political question, but you know what it's going to be when it comes to you, young one. And I don't know whether it's say young one. People say Ninja Knight, but you need to get your eyes tested. That one's in our 40s. Probably, possibly. It's going to become a problem for you. You see, this is the thing. And again, I don't want any problems for you. I'm explaining cause and effect here. Because what we see in at various protests there is how when stuff starts to get a bit heated and tense, the women that were there that were well trained were still looking around and fearful. So here's the thing. What this woman is asking you is in your best interest. Because these fellas that are coming from these countries, now not all of them, and I think we have to have that caveat to say that, if you're a neurosurgeon, you should be someone, I keep saying this, if you're someone that's a skillful person, you should be able to come to the country. I don't see any difficulty or any problems with that at all. And nobody thinks that either. But if you're a bum that's coming from Georgia or Albania and that, you're not needed. You're not necessary. You shouldn't be here. And that's exactly the type of stuff that's going on, because those type of dudes that have some sort of past, potentially, are the ones that aren't going to give a jot about the uniform that you're wearing and are going to do things that are wholly negative. And that is a cause and effect. I am not wishing that upon you. I am not supporting that. I am not endorsing it. And it is something that us as people are seeing what's going to happen. You have seen issues with people in Sligo. You have seen issues with what happened with Aisling Murphy. All preventable, in my humble opinion. Now, again, people would say, well, That's not. It's something that would have happened or could have happened, and there's no way to figure that out. Well, that's your view, and that's your opinion, and you're entitled to that. But when she's talking about that's a political question, I wonder if it's going to be a political question, and it's going to happen. And listen, again, like I said, I'm not supporting it, I'm not endorsing it, I'm not advocating for this at all. It is something that I would find to be absolutely reprehensible. But what is eventually going to happen, because you see it in America right now and in various different places, someone's going to get walloped, right? And they're going to get walloped bad in uniform by one of these guys or multiple of these guys. And that might be the time when the shift comes, when there might be a shift in attitude, when there might be a shift in support. It won't be so much a political question anymore. It would be more so a thing of, I think you're bang on there, lads. Because I think if I ask the question on Twitter now, if I put up a poll now, and it's something that I probably will do, if a guard was in difficulty, would you help them out? I believe that would gather, I would say, between 400 to 600 votes. And I think that 90+% would say no, that they wouldn't help. Now, the reason why that they wouldn't help is because of attitudes and interviews like this, and because of the attitudes and, I would say, tactics, we can just call them, that have been implemented over the last few years. That's why people wouldn't help you. And a lot of people out there feel the same. Like if I ask the chat now that if they saw someone in uniform in trouble, would you help them out? I think most people would say no. There's going to be a couple of people that would say yeah, and morality, and this is why we should be good people. We should be good people to have that morality kick in and help one another out. But when you see what has happened over the last few years, it's extremely difficult to go, well, that organization as a whole hasn't helped people out. What it has done is it has facilitated an awful lot of this in multiple locations, which then would tell people, hey, this organization ain't on your side. It is also something that I think people are becoming very aware of very quick, that if there was to be this hate speech law, that there's people that are out there within this force, within this organization, that would be more than happy to do that and use it. You know?
So the Gardaí...
That's for our government to answer.
Okay, so the Gardaí...
personally.
Okay, so the Gardaí would not be involved in vetting these undocumented migrants into the country?
I don't know.
You don't
who
know?
vets them?
Was Garda vetting or a thing? Like, what? What do you mean by that? I don't know who vets them. She doesn't know much for a sergeant. Like, is that something that is usual in these sort of positions?
Okay, number 3. Why are the people not being informed of the migrants being placed in their communities?
You've asked something similar already, but... It
is similar. I mean, you have...
Look at the face and the body language on this one. And honest to God, lads, this is what doesn't help you as an organization. It really doesn't. Now, I've seen some of the interviews that have been conducted and given by members of Garda Síochána, and I would say, particularly the men, interview much better, because they're like, look, I'll listen to you, I'll hear what you're saying. Yeah, 100%. Now, everybody knows that a lot of the time when it comes to these things, people are brought into a realm, listen to, and no, look, we'll look into that, and then they're walking back out the door, and the fellas are just going back behind there, again, allegedly, spectively, and potentially going, yeah, I'm not doing anything about that there. This is the thing, and this is what is a positive, I suppose, about having women in these positions. You are seeing the attitude front and center here. This is a horrific attitude to have. This is supposed to be someone that serves the public and the people of Ireland. And this is the sort of attitude she has. Nah, not my problem. No, I'm all right, Jack. Arms crossed. We don't want to be here. Are we done? Are we finished? I want to get back behind the old curtain there. I want to be behind the plexiglass. I don't want to be out here talking to you. I have episodes of Fair City to be watching. I have to go and tell fellas that it's not my job to make the coffee, that those type of jokes and remarks are sexist, and that I'm here on merit. I can also bench press more than most of the fellas that are running around here. So do you want to do some bench press offs? It's shocking. It really is shocking. I'm not going to lie to the situation here, but honestly, like, you know, I mean, this woman just would remind you of your own mother, I suppose, going in. Just calmly saying and asking questions. And this is the type of way she's been responded to. Baffling.
To understand, Merlin, this creates civil unrest if
I can see it. I was up in Ballybrack, you weren't. Okay.
Well, I saw the videos and we have people
You weren't there.
We have people who aren't.
I know, and we actually met.
And I have to say, this business of stripping people has been shown to be torturous.
Business of stripping people?
Stripping
what do you mean?
people. Well, in fact, I have actually been informed of a number of people who've been arrested and have been stripped naked and put in the cell. Now, I also know that there was an investigation on the practice of stripping people naked. I believe one guy was stripped in the van.
One, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody was stripped naked in a van.
Was
Two, you weren't here. And secondly, when a person is arrested for any offence, that person is arrested for their safety, our safety, and placed in the cell.
Okay, stop. So how are so many fellas coming into the country without documents? Why are they walking into the place? Why are they being given free hotel rooms? Why are they being given places to stay? Why are these people then, as it turns out then, when it comes to doing negative things, do the interviews that are conducted by people within this profession and the media then conclude that a bit of a problem back where he came from? So what's that about? It's either safety for everyone or safety for nobody. This selective way of doing things has become so apparent. It's not really good at all, is what I'm saying here. I want to just emphasize that there. And genuine concerns there that are being brought forward from people that have given eyewitness accounts or have been part of this themselves are supposed to not be believed because she says so. Now, listen, I don't believe people in uniform. And there are a number of people that are out there that will say things that, like, they have attended court and they have witnessed, according to them, perjury on the stand. Perjury, whatever way you want to go. Someone will criticize that, and fair play to you for criticizing that. I love it. Keep me in line. I love it. But this is the thing. You're seeing a person now that is getting super defensive. This is how defensive she's gotten. Have you noticed the change? And this is just something I find fascinating. The body language and the demeanor. As soon as it was a question of this practice has been said to us, oh no, that doesn't happen. But when you have a concern, it's folded arms looking at you going, yeah, no. Wild difference, isn't it?
They are a prisoner. End of story. Okay?
That's classed as demeanor.
They're a prisoner. They're a prisoner? For what? You can't be a prisoner unless you've committed a crime. Is that not how it goes? And let's be honest here. Let's be transparent and honest here. When you people like to use Section 8, you know as well as I do that an awful lot of the time when that is used, that is just for weird reasons. A lot of the time. I don't like what you're doing here. That's a Section 8 that there is no public order. Have you seen the borders be overrun here in this country? Have you seen the docks and the airports be overrun? Have you seen fellas coming in here that have ripped up documents? Do you not think that that is a Section 8? Do you not think that that is a potential for danger? So you either apply it to everybody or you apply it to nobody. As the old boy would like to say, T for one or T for all. Which way do you want to go with this? So it's just showing you the way that these people think. Now, this is a sergeant, by the way, and this is the way she's going on. Doesn't inspire confidence, sure it doesn't. And this is in Dunleary, from what I understand. Now, could be wrong when it comes to this here. Someone could say, hey, it's from a different area, but this says Dunleary says no. It's not good. Not good viewing.
And that's in the regulation. So we will go on from that, but that's what it's classed as. It's official. Okay, so number 4. So why are the people in these communities being ignored? Why are we being ignored and being treated quite hostile when all we have is very valid questions?
Who's been hostile? Well, why are you asking me this?
Oh, now hang on there for a second. Who's been hostile? The way you've answered that question, or I should say even asked that question, because you're answering that question with another question. seems very aggressive. Like, this is how it goes. Have you not seen the footage? I don't know what goes on with people. I really don't, because I used to see it when you play football games, right? You know as well as I do that there were certain fellas that when they put on a jersey and crossed the football pitch line, that they went berserk, right? And you know as well as I do that everybody wants to get in to the likes of the once they get into the change rooms, you'd see old Jimmy and you'd go, Jimmy, you're bang out of line there when it comes to these things. You would want to give that over. That would be the collective team. Now, there are some people that would probably be sitting in that room that I go, well, I didn't see anything. I saw nothing. And you're looking at them going, that's pure stupidity. There's no way that you could say that you saw nothing. Because surely you're seeing everything that's going on. You're seeing the same videos that are being taken by other people, and you're seeing the behavior. You're seeing people pushing and shoving, roaring at people, get back. If you took that sort of attitude down to the likes of the docks or the airport with people trying to enter this country illegally, people would look at that and go, fair play to you. You're doing that with your own people.
Well,
I know it was hostile. I was there.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. And the thing was, that was a peaceful protest until the guards agitated.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Incorrect.
Well,
You
we're
weren't
not-
there. I was.
We're not actually.
Roddy Murdy here with the receipts. So there you go. That's the receipts when it comes to that one. There it is. And you've got a very interesting thing that's happening there on Instagram. So fair play to Off Grid Ireland for sharing that there. That's much appreciated. They've done a great job when it comes to that there. They've done a wonderful job. So look, we'll jump back onto Gabriel and we'll see what is happening there. But I think the thing that doesn't look well now for the Gardaí either is this sort of interview that's been conducted and has been posted out there. Now, what is going to happen from now on? Well, what I think will happen from now on is you're going to see more of the same, which is going to be you've got to go to the press office, because that's the old rhetoric that's been thrown towards people when they got press office there. So they've been instructed, obviously, from up above, hey, don't be talking to people, because when you do, you give interviews like this, and these interviews only serve to wake people up and actually probably annoy people even further about the type of job that we're doing here, which, according to a lot of people, isn't a good job. I mean, if you were to ask me, honestly, do I think the Gardaí are doing a good job here? I don't at all. And the reason for that is because you're seeing politicians running around, you're seeing the likes of Luke O'Neill running around, you're seeing Neffet running around, you're seeing media personalities running around that all advocate for something that seems to be doing something that is wholly negative. And they have advocated for companies with long criminal histories. So when you are asking me if I think they're doing a good job, I don't. And that's part of why, as I say, it comes back to what the Joker is saying there. They're only as good as society allows them to be. Society has allowed people in these professions and this profession as a whole to treat them like that. You have someone there as a woman there sharing genuine concerns with how people are being treated in Ballybrack, and it's real. You weren't there. Oh, really? Oh, really? So you don't think that people can view a situation and see it a different way to you, do you not? That's interesting, it is, because I'm sure that loads of you people go into those types of courts and stuff like that, and they all say different things then for other people. Maybe you were there, maybe you weren't. Who knows? Legislatively. People will be taking sips now when it comes to that. But that's another video. It's another video that's after coming out, and it just doesn't paint these people in uniform in a good light. It paints them in a very negative light. And that's someone that would be considered, I suppose, leadership. And the answers that she's given are ridiculous. The body language is way off. The tone is way off. Because, ladies, if you want to go with that and you want men to understand you, well, we understand you now more than ever. When you've got the likes of the Fresh and Fit podcast, when you've got Andrew Tate that's out there, Kevin Samuels, these guys that are out there, we now understand women. We understand what you're up to. And you want to go down the road of tone. Well, listen, we'll pull you up on tone now as well. We'll say, hey, we didn't like the way you said that. And I don't like the way that she was saying things towards that woman there. That woman was being very kind and very respectful. And instead, what you're saying is someone that I'm sure the lizard part of her brain is going, what we're doing here is bang out of order and wrong. But I don't have the ability, whatever it might be, whether it be morality, whether it be principles, to go and say to people that are higher on up, hang on here, this is wrong. And everyone else here believes this is wrong. Like I said, bad news. Okay, you want to see something that's going on in Dublin? That's a real problem. Here we go. Actual racism is actually happening in Dublin. Is it happening? This isn't an indigenous person that's saying this. This isn't a native. This is someone from somewhere else. A woman searches for space to offer yoga classes to minority women. Dublin Inquirer. With super women everywhere, she hopes to reach women who may avoid yoga because they feel out of place. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is the same woman that went on a live stream or something like that, or whatever it might have been, posted out and said, hey, you're seeing loads of posts out there with people that are of different ethnicities attending colleges, and that's actually not what happens. And I was like, okay, you can cut the interview there. That's accurate, that is, because we'll see some college places now that are promoting anything but Irish people. But what you're then followed up with is they need more representation. Not how it works, though. It works on the principle of what sort of scores you get, and that's where you end up going. And maybe some of these people are just not interested in that. You know, many people know Indian people, you know, as I did growing up, and these people have no interest in going into certain professions other than being a doctor or a solicitor or anything like that. Some of these people had more interest in becoming part of the family business, and part of the family business was the restaurant, for example. And it's a successful restaurant and it's doing really well. So that's where they go. You've then got other people that are going into different positions, wherever they may be. So this whole ideology of like, let's get all these people into college, what's going to end up happening is a very similar effect to what's happening in athletics now at the moment, which is they're going to go, guess what, Paddy, not enough spaces for you. And we have to cut across some of these spaces and give them to someone else we do. What we are also going to do at this moment in time is we're going to do that in sports. When you see the difference between the Irish women's team and some of the other ones that are out there, let's have a look. But there you go. That's actual racism, in my humble opinion. That is someone that's out there that's like, hey, I need this to be done. But is that not racist then to be selecting people based on their skin color? Is that not what that's all about? Is it not? I don't know about you guys, but seems really up there. And again, like the likes of you and me are called Istaphobe for when you're saying to people, hey, I don't like the fact that this country's been overrun with people not from this place, and it is diminishing the place and it is causing more issues. But no problem for someone to jump into the Dublin Inquirer and go, actually, I want to see more brown and black people. I'd like nothing more than having a studio full of these people. Notice you left out white there. Notice you left out that. And you also left out Asian. Poor old Asians are getting left out there. I think I said this last week, I did. And here's how things went. Who would you rather have as Minister for Justice in Ireland? 96% said Dustin the Turkey. 4% said Helen McEntee with 428 votes. There you go. It's not good. A lot of people would say, they're both puppets anyway. Lols. You got this here during the week there. You've got the brilliant memes that are getting out, and you've got this guy here. You've got a fella on the left. I think he was in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. He's been in a few other bits and pieces too. Come on, Cyrus. And Pee Wee Herman. What about Pee Wee Herman? They got your man as well too. What was his face? The fella with the bell. Can't think of his name. From Breaking Bad. He's no longer with us as of today. There's been a lot of people. There's been a big turnover of people there, known names that you know that are no longer with us now at this moment in time. It's interesting stuff, you know. So this is one of the colleges I was telling you about, and this is TU Dublin. Now these have come into the stream beforehand because they decided to put up a rainbow shtick at some moment in time in June, and it didn't go well for them. They got very negative comments aimed at them. So what are you noticing here? Well, this is a college in Dublin. TU Dublin's Graduate Business School offers a range of courses that will accelerate and transform your career. Chinese, African, unknown. I'm sure probably looks Asian, I suppose. Could we say that? Could we say looks Asian? But anyway, 3 non-Irish. That's a place there in Dublin. That's advocating for this. That would be like going to a college in Nigeria. Do they have colleges in Nigeria? I don't know. That would be like going to a college in Nigeria and seeing 3 paddies here, front and centre. Do you think you'd see that? That's like going to a Chinese place. That's like going to a place in China and going, we'll have 3 Seamuses there across the board. Lovely there now, lads. That's great, Horton. 3 ginger lads there that are going to be up front and centre. It wouldn't make sense, would it? It wouldn't make sense at all. So that's sort of what's being pointed out now. And even the foreigners are noticing this. They're like, hang on here for a second. People are being overrepresented here now. That's weird. The Gardaí put this out during the week. Fair play to them, lads. They're doing great work, lads. Fair play. They put this out and they said, Gardaí attached to a roads policing unit in South Dublin were on patrol when they spotted this chancer parked in a disabled bay without a permit on display. So we clamped him and we give him €150 fine. Cost of coffee been blurred out in the background there. Fair play. They've come under fire over the last few days as well too. Decided to put up a cartoon of a fella without any, well, I shouldn't say fella. It was a doubtfire. It was an Ellen Page. That is now Elliot Page. That was what was front and center on that. This is a coffee shop, by the way, that was posting that image out, and I think was supposed to be publicly displaying it. It's like, whoa. But the point is that when it comes to these things, it comes to the downfires, that it's $1 million industry with each person. I think it's at least £1 million that these places earn on those people a person. Unreal. So I said this here. I said, imagine posing this and being proud of it while politicians are super corrupt and the country is being invaded. Fair dues to you, lads. You are doing the Lord's work out there now. You're keeping yourselves busy. Well done there. Shocking stuff. Do you think politicians in Ireland are putting the Irish people in danger? Put this out the other day. 949 votes, which isn't bad. Yes, 96%. No, 4%. Now, people always ask me and they say, Ninja Knight, how come 4% seems to be the general gist of what's going on here? Between 4 to 5% is usually what this attracts, in stark opposition to what I'm saying. I said it last week, I'll say it again. This could be a tweet of, you could have €1 million every day for the rest of your life, or you couldn't and you might be kicked. People would select, 4% at least would select, I'd rather be kicked than the €1 million. You know what I'm saying? You're always going to get people out there that are going to do that. I mean, these people, and that's the scary thing, 4% of this number here are eligible, from what I understand, probably most likely, allegedly, especially able to vote. You know what I'm saying? There's people that can't comprehend simple things that are going on the social media sites. Like, that's just being honest with you. There's polls that I put up before that I've been surprised that have been like 10% think that this is a bad idea. I'm like, whoa, like, you're way out of order here when it comes to that. But like I said, 4% when it's said and done is always going to be something that you're going to get. You're always going to get 4%. That's going to be the number. That's the magic number. Let's keep going here. You've got this here, Off Grid Ireland shared this out. I think it's a great thing here. They have this guy. I don't know whether it's a real guy or anything like that, but it's basically saying, gut-wrenching to see the daughter go. I'm really sad. She's heading out there to Australia. Abdul, Ahmed and the boys are being ferried in there, and old, Shane is sitting up there front and saying, sure, I'm just driving in for Cardiff, like, it's no problem at all. Good lad there, Shane. They're doing a mighty job there now, Suzanne has gone out there and she's gone to Australia. They're telling you that the likes of the climate and stuff like that isn't great and all like that, but no, you can ferry in the fellas like this here into the place, hand over fist, but, Suzanne, that's a nail technician, she has to go out to Australia because now work here for her. Says it up. TUD, this comes back from June, from what I understand. CAO 2023, with diversity, flexibility, and excellent student support, TU Dublin offers a wide range of level 6, 7, and 8 programs. Our state-of-the-art facilities, small class sizes, and practice-based learning will prepare you for whatever future you choose. Is this an African establishment? What's the story here? What's going on? Why is this front and center? And you see, these are specific choices, by the way. This isn't an accident. By the way, I want you to just look at the likes to comment ratio as well too. There's more comments on it than there is likes. You've got a lot of laughing emojis and angry emojis. There's a big turn happening on Facebook right now where people are spotting these type of things and they're commenting on them and they're going, this is banging out of order. And surprisingly, and it has been surprising on Facebook because they do like to suppress things big time over there, but there's starting to be a big momentum be drawn with people, and they're like, yeah, no, you're right. 3 years ago, you'd been called a racist for pointing this out, for pointing specifically this out. Hang on here, lads. You seem to have photographed 4 people here, and 3 of them are African here. And one fella, probably Polish. He's probably Polish. But you've got an image like this here now that has been widely criticized because people are realizing what's going on. They're realizing and they're asking questions like, hey, Africa isn't part of the EU. How is it that this country has so many Africans in it already? Why is that? Why is that happening? And listen, as I said to you beforehand, I have African friends, and they even think the same themselves. They're like, we can't believe that they're letting so many in. They couldn't believe when it happened in England, by the way. A lot of them come over from England and they settle over here. But like, they can't believe that the countries are doing what they're doing. They're astounded. They really are. Because they just don't understand how a country's letting Tom, Dick, and Harry in there. Like, we know what's coming. You know, like, they're very aware. And as I said before, I've got friends of mine that wouldn't live in the States with people because they're like, we know exactly what's going on. And listen till I tell you this. People think, oh, it's not just a merry world and we're all happy. There's people that are from certain countries in Africa that despise other people from other countries in Africa. It's just how it goes. And that's what happens. And then these people are being expected to live in the same areas, not that. Like, you have no idea what's coming. Well, you do. The lefties don't. But they're going to be the ones that are going to fall victim to it first anyway. And then it's going to be everyone else then. Because when you look at what's going on in America, and this is just the way it is, when you have a percentage of 14% of the population in America, and you can close your eyes and listen to a video or a description of a video of what's going on in the video, and I would say 9 times out of 10 understand what the perpetrator looks like before even seeing them. That's a problem, is it not? Is that not a problem? I would certainly say it is. But why is that a problem? Well, it's a problem because the glorification of acts in the likes of music and in TV shows, they don't want a Kanye West out there. Kanye West has said that to people before. He's like, I speak too white for these people. He's like, what does that mean? He's like, because I speak eloquently and I speak in a well manner. He's like, but because I'm not thrown around stereotypical language, he says I'm supposed to be too white. They said the same about Tiger Woods. You know what I'm saying? He's like, but no, what they want is they want those guys. You know? So, going back to this point here, would you see this sort of stuff happening in Nigeria or in any other country in Africa? I would highly doubt it. Would you see it in South Africa at the moment? You know, that's going to be a big talking point. Wet the whistle there. And then just going back to this here, because I always like to go back to this. Remember when urgent cancer appointments got cancelled and everyone clapped and doctors and nurses choreographed dance routines? Because you can't be forgetting that either. That's why, as I said to you earlier on, the Joker is an important cog in this machine. Because when you allowed and permitted this sort of stuff, that's why you're saying the stuff that you're saying now. Because these people are going, go away with that one. So what else can we get away with here? The climate be the next thing that they want to be putting people into their gaffs over. It's been a very wet summer, it has. Has it? Yeah, it has. It's been raining an awful lot. You've actively got like Mexico or Canada talking about cloud seeding, by the way. And then there's people out here that look at you sideways for mentioning that. They're like, oh, you're just conspiracy theorists. There's multiple articles about this stuff. Now, I don't know about you, but if you can control rain, what else can you control? Like, what's going on? I just want to show you something here as well. I just found it interesting. There's the Irish women's team. Now, something that I have to be honest with you that happened during the week was this. I saw about 10 articles I did. I thought about doing a video about it, and then I said, no, like, I'm not actually that interested because I don't think anybody gives a rat's about the Irish women's team. So what happens during the week? Well, what we saw multiple articles come out. If you didn't see it, I certainly did, because unfortunately I am tuned into things when things go on and I go, oh, not this again. There was moaning going on. Now, I don't know what it was about, but there's been nothing but moaning going on since this Women's World Cup has started, right? Now, the Men's World Cup, I didn't hear or see any moaning. None in Qatar. I seen more moaning from the BBC. They were like, oh, we have to go over here and the rights of people over here are not very good. And the people that have built the stadium, there's human rights violations. You're reporting from boots on the ground there, lads. You're not actually doing anything by being there. You don't have to be there. And all these people that are coming out and saying like Rio Fair, oh, bruv, I didn't think that I had to go over there, but I had to make a claim. What are you talking about? If you all stood together and said, we're not going over because we don't support it, maybe you would have had a bit of legitimacy, but you don't, because you all went. But have a look at Jordan Henderson now in a moment. I think that's brilliant what Jordan Henderson doing. It's hilarious. But anyway, have a look at the Irish women's team here. You've seen over the last week that there's been more kerfuffles than ever to try and gather people's attention on this here, and nobody cares. In my humble opinion, they tried to create their own version of Roy Keane and Mick McCarthy in Saipan. They said one individual, I don't even know who in this team, I couldn't point the woman out, had a fallen out with the manager over some reason or another. There was also some other thing that they tried to drum up before the ball was kicked between some woman and Australia. I don't know, was she in a relationship with that woman or something beforehand? I don't know what went down. I couldn't care less. And nobody has any interest in women's football. Not even the women. It's like Bill Burr says, if you have interest in this and you want to see it getting the revenue that men get, go to it and have a look. Saw a brilliant clip there last week from ESPN where there was this dude, white dude, of course. There was a woman that was hosting the show, black woman, and then there was a black guy as well too there. I presume the guy was either a former college basketball player or NBA player. The black guy was humongous, a very tall guy. But anyway, the white guy was pressed on the revenue that the women's football earn. And he said, well, it's like this. The women earn 20% of revenue from what they accrue as an organization. 20%. He said the men get 7%. So the women actually earn 13% more than what they are, what they should be getting. He's like, if they were to be on par with the men, they'd be getting 7%. They're getting way more than they are, so they should shut up. They should say nothing because they're doing really well. And that argument was then done. So anyway, Bill Burr says that women should show up to these things. I concur. In fairness, women seem to have turned up to the Barbie movie. Now, that's another thing. That's another story for another day, because that's another thing that's captivated people's attention. Oh, you've gone to see Barbenheimer. Have you gone to see? Have you spent the day at the cinema? No, I haven't. I wouldn't go to the cinema now, to be quite honest with you, because I think the etiquette of people at cinemas are horrific. I also think that when you go to the cinema and it's overpriced, to be told wokey leftist nonsense, I'm not interested anymore, because guess what I can do? I can turn it off if I don't like it. And I have old stuff that I would watch, and I would rather watch that than anything that's been produced now. I'm being honest, right? So, women's team here. What do you notice? Not a black face amongst them. Isn't that interesting? Now, if this was the men's team, is what I'm saying. If this was the men's team, how long do you think it would be before someone was called a racist? How long do you think it would be before one of the selectors or the managers was called a racist? And humbly, I'm going to say, I don't think that anybody that has arrived in this country for 15 minutes and has happened to have been born, the magic dirt theory as they call it, happens to have been born here and then goes back off to Nigeria or England or anything like that, I don't consider them Irish at all. But if this was the men's team, now I'm pointing this out because all I want you to do is I want you to cast your mind out, and this is just the women's team. And the women's team in Germany has a very similar look. All white women. Now, what does the men's German team look like? Think about the men's German team. What do they look like? Turkish, black, and various others there that are there, and they don't look like the women's team. Isn't that interesting? There ain't nobody talking about this in the women's game. There's no one saying it, which is hilarious, because these are the same people that are out there crying foul for every leftist thing that they want to cry for, but none of them going, no black women here in this sport here. Okay. Because here's what's going to happen when it comes to football, because it's going to happen in athletics real soon. You're going to start seeing Irish athletics competitors complain. And it's going to be interesting to see who the fourth person is going to be. It really is, because they're going to be dragged over the coals when it comes to this. But they're going to be right. Because how can you compete and potentially compete in Ireland? Let's just cast all this stuff aside and just talk the truth here. This is what real talk is about. When you have black people that have muscle twitch fibers and they have fast twitch muscle fibers that are incredibly fast and incredibly strong, they are of course going to be faster than the white person. Is that not true? It certainly is, because look at who the fastest man in the world was, Usain Bolt. Perfectly makes sense. Okay? So you look at the long distance, it's the same sort of story. Long distance are always dominated by those lads. So what's going to happen is the athletic side of things is just going to be a wash of people that are definitely not Irish. That's what's going to happen. If they have a chance at representing Ireland, because wherever they came from, there's probably elite levels. I remember watching a documentary not too long ago, and it was Usain Bolt, and I can't remember the other fella's name, But this fella was lightning quick, he was. And Bolt was just faster. But this other fella was scarily quick. But that was the thing. All the Jamaican team were scarily quick. And people will go, oh yeah, but hang on. That means then that you should have the best person. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying there 100%. But isn't it interesting how the men's game is harangued and harassed about you should have 5 black players in your team. You need 3 homegrown players. What's the story here? What's going on? There doesn't seem to be the same sort of rhetoric going on here. It seems to be left alone. But like I said, athletics is going to be something that's going to be taken over. It's already in the process of it. The media are gauging that response from people, by the way, already. They're posting article after article about anybody that's in athletics that doesn't share what these women look like here. Someone might say, well, look at the tan on this lady here. She's definitely cut around the wrist. But that is going to happen very soon. And I'm surprised out of all of the guffaw and out of the media over the last week, I was just like, surely there's going to be someone. Because wasn't there a comment made? And I'm just drawing it back to this because, like I say, it's the hypocrisy and the nonsense that goes on here. And because we listen, obviously, to an awful lot of leftist women that cast out opinions, wasn't there some idiot that put out an opinion there that when Argentina won the World Cup that there wasn't any black players in the team? Do you remember that one? That was actually an article someone put out there. And it was like, everyone unanimously said, what a stupid thing to say, because the team that won the World Cup are Argentinian. And if they'd have changed someone, they probably wouldn't have won it. However, if you had a look at the French team, I'm not saying, I'm just saying that there seems to be an interesting factor there that no one seems to have thought of. Anyway, let's go on. Jordan Henderson put out this quote here. This is absolutely hilarious. 2019. The idea that anybody I love and care about wouldn't feel safe or comfortable coming to watch me play if they were part of the LGBT community makes me wonder what world we live in. Now, honest to God, lads, I really mean this, right? Now, I'm not a Liverpool fan, as you know, but I saw a video I did of his dad, right? And his dad was doing the farewell Jordan. I remember taking him up to Sunderland. People be like, what sort of accent is that? Anyway, the video was weird. And it was like shades of like, the outfit is like strange here, the way he's saying things. He's a top lad, and he's a great footballer and a great person. It's like, the order of which you said these things doesn't make sense. He's your son. And you're like, he's a top footballer, top bins. And it's like, weird. Anyway, this is something he said in 2019. Now, what has happened? Fast forward to 2023. Well, Jurgen Voldemort promoter Klopp said, hey, Jordan looked for the move out of Liverpool. How much is Jordan earning a week? 700,000. Whoa. Of course, you would be opting for the move out. But where's he gone to? Oh, he's gone to Saudi Arabia. Right. What did I think about that community? Not very much. Isn't it illegal in Saudi Arabia? So there you go. Again, coming back to what the Joker says, there's a price here. Now, this guy might believe in that. However, what I would suggest is this. I would suggest that this group here and the organizations, the NGOs that are behind this are, and I'm saying this, are bullies. They are bullies. And they are people that are part of a mob. And in my view, I think that an awful lot of the time when you look at, say, for example, what does peace mean? Tony Stark says this. Tony Stark said peace means having a bigger stick than the other guy. Well, the bigger stick from the last few years hasn't been anything to do with, what would have happened in years gone by. It's to do with social media presence. And has to deal with people collectively coming together going, no, I'm not having any of that. So what has happened is, in my humble opinion, is that he's been bullied for the last few years to be doing all this sort of stuff. And loads of Premier League players do this here. And at the first sign of, here's double your wages, lad, he's gone, Viva Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? And I said it about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I just remember the quote, a tweet from the Anfield football followers or something like that, whatever it was. And they're like, Jordan has some explaining to do if he comes back to the community. And Jordan was like, I'm hightailing her out here. That's £700 a week gone. Amazing that, isn't it? This is something that's an interesting case study. And this is something that I've been talking about. This is apparently from America. What's changed in the last 30 years? This thing here, as I said, 2,094%. Now, all of these other things as well too are definitely a factor for sure. These are things that absolutely should be looked into. But this is one that's interesting because why? Well, that factors into the Lynn Ruan video we did during the week. And these people are advocating, for example, if you have a mental illness or you have a chronic illness for a very long time, you should be having assisted. Isn't that weird how you guys keep promoting ADHD? You keep promoting... But here's the thing. Nobody is supposed to sit around in general. Now, I would say I'm a very calm person overall. But I like to work out. I like to do things here. I like to do there. I like to keep my mind busy. That's why I do things like this as well. I like to do other things. Nobody's meant to sit anywhere in one position in one place for like 8 hours on the bounce. You're not supposed to do that. That's just not what it's like to be wired as a human. Because let's be honest, if the world shuts down tomorrow and power goes out and that, what are you going to turn into? You're going to turn into a forager. You're going to turn into a warrior. You're going to turn into someone that's going to try and scavenge. You're not going to just be sitting around. So this label of ADHD being attributed to people, it's absolutely unbelievable. I remember when I was a kid, people would say, oh, that kid over there is hyperactive or whatever like that. Now they're slapping a label on that lad and saying, here, give him as many pills there as you can take. It's insane. But the reason why that young fella has been given the pills that he's been given is because it's a money spinner. It's a money racket, in my humble opinion. Now, again, I'm not giving out medical advice here or anything like that, but everybody knows someone that was a bit like, wired to the moon. You know the fella that when you had a birthday party and people would go over and they go, don't give your man a Coca-Cola there because you know what, he's going to be running around. He's going to be like Hermes running around the place. He's going to be in the air. He's not even going to be touching the ground. He's going to be flying through the air. That's how quick he's going to go. You know what I mean? And they go, don't give him any sugar. Like, that was just it. That kid's metabolism was just a different metabolism and it just affected him. And sometimes it could be a parental thing. Like my mum and dad are very disciplined people. And as such, I'm a disciplined person. Other people aren't. And other people don't have folks that are like that. And other people go that way. And that's okay. People are different. So this whole thing of like, oh, let's slip a label onto that now. Madness. But what has grown over the last number of years, and 30 years is for sure something that is absolutely a thing, because I talked to my parents, talked to my grandparents, and nobody existed in their age that has autism. And it's something that is and they're trying to do it, by the way. They're trying to gaslight people that are the age of my parents and your parents, and that to think, this was always around, but they hid all these people. That's one of the things that people say to you. Oh, they hid all of them, they did. Did they really? How was that? How did they hide all of them? And you were telling me you never encountered anybody like this in your life? Never. And then they start to think and they go, oh yeah. And you're going, yeah, I know. So they couldn't have hit everybody. This seems to be a new phenomenon. And look at the way that they report on these people in the media. Look at the way that they promote them in entertainment. I mean, I seen The Predator not too long ago, and they tried to put the kid out to be some sort of savant. People think of Dustin Hoffman as Rain Man, and it's just not the reality, because you see enough documentaries that are done and you're like, that's not the reality of what this entertainment industry are pushing forward here. They did it in the new Power Rangers movie as well. They had Billy that they race swapped to be a black guy because they thought it would be racist to make the black guy the Black Power Ranger. Mad stuff, that one, isn't it? And then they made him autistic. And they were like, oh no, he has a superpower, he's autistic. What? You know what I mean? So anyway, this happened last week. I think I talked about this on the show last week. Now, Jamie Foxx dropped a video, and he dropped a video that said, hey guys, I'm thinking about retiring. You might not see me around anymore. It's been good. I hope to be back and stuff like that. Didn't disclose what had happened to him. Now, people were saying that he may have had a stroke. Now, it was very clear and obvious to see that Jamie participated in what. So how long was it before who came down and knocked on the door and said, listen, Jamie, you better keep your mouth shut? Because all these people seem to be keeping their mouth shut. The family of Ray Liotta, Bob Saget, Gilbert Gottfried, Justin Bieber, his wife as well too. She's one of the Baldwins, by the way. That's, dynasties there, lads, is what I'm saying. Did you ever see her? She's not, like, for Justin Bieber, who was a megastar, and you see her, you're like, really? That's what you decided to marry her? Anyway, looks aside, people that say you're very, very superficial. Well, if you're super money, I don't know what you're doing with her. Anyway, the various other people that are out there as well too, Lance Reddick and stuff like that. Any chatter about any of them, Damar Hamlin or anything like that, John Fetterman or anything like that? No. What about the people here in Ireland as well too that have had issues? Any chatter about any of them? No. Okay. Well, to me now, the big one was Jamie Foxx. I was like, this has to be the one that they go boom. Well, Jamie released a video. It's very strange, and then this picture emerged straight away afterwards, and people were like, have you ever heard that song from Tom MacDonald? If you haven't heard it, listen to it. It's called Cloned Rappers. I said this before about Eminem. That's not the same deal. It can't be. People would say, oh, he's dropped weight. He was sick. Sure. The beard doesn't even match up, right? He's got a completely different complexion. Like, this guy is dark. He's in serious light. Someone will go, oh, it was the lighting. The lighting that this guy is in is immense also. And then you've got this fella here. Like, not only that then, lads, but he released this video on the day that a movie came out that he was in from Netflix called, guess this, They Cloned Tyrone was named the movie. This was the first public appearance of this guy. Then he said something weird in the video. It was like, if you ever see me around town and I just start breaking down and crying, like, just walk on by. And it's just like, oh, here, something's way off here. And then you look at Joe, for example, that's running in America, and you look at him, pictures of him from 15 years ago. Not the same guy. It's not the same dude. 100%. So how long have they been doing this? They've been doing this apparently a very long time. Some people would say, well, Paul McCartney was involved. Perhaps, who knows? They had a lookalike contest in and around the time, and then they leaned into what was considered a conspiracy theory for a very long time. But again, who knows when it comes to these things? Have they got people that are doppelgangers? For sure. Stuntmen and stuff like that. That's their job. But this here to me now is another situation. I mean, the hairline is even different. You know what I mean? Like, that one's there now. There's a big, massive curve here to that. That's a little bit straighter to this. And someone would say, he's been losing his hair and he's had a hair transplant, which he did. But, like, that's a different deal, isn't it? The eyes are completely different as well. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but I'm certainly looking at these things from a different way over the last years. I'm like, I don't believe anything that these people put out in front of you. Really don't. And then see the likes of deep fakes, by the way. There's a chap that does deep fakes that are out there. If you're not familiar with what a deep fake is, it's basically someone's able to superimpose the face of someone else onto them and they're able to move. There's a fella out there, and I think he does a golfing video. I think it's a golfing one that does a Tom Cruise. And I am telling you, if you show that to someone that doesn't know that that's a fake, they won't have a clue. And they did the same thing as well with Luke Skywalker there in the recent Star Wars. There's a fella that did a video like 20 minutes, I think, after Disney premiered that. He did a better version of Luke Skywalker. You actually would think that Hamill is still in his 30s. Scary stuff. And then the holographs for Tupac as well. It's like, tell you, not up to it. This is photographed in Dunleary. So the lads out there having a good old time. Wonder where they're coming from. They don't seem to match the description of people that are coming from the blue and yellow flag waving country. They really don't. Sure they don't. But this is what they're doing. They're on phones. They're hanging around. Your man here is drinking a can, having a good time. He's having a laugh there. The feet up on the bench. You don't sit like that here in this country. That's anybody that sits with their feet up on a bench or the seat. I immediately, listen, you might be one of those people and you might say that's bad out there in England. I think there's something up with you if you put your feet on something like that. If you put your feet on something where you're supposed to say, what's going on with you? I just think it's very dirty, That's just my view, my opinion. But the lads here now realise, rats are being photographed here now. Yikes. I mean, these fellas are young enough, why are they not hanging on where they are and helping out the country? If they're coming from the blue and yellow flag waving country, what's the story? No? He's not hanging around, lads. Weird. So let's keep going here now, and I'll show you some of the videos I think that I've posted as well too after this here. I don't know if there's any more memes and images. I got these images all from around the internet. Fairness, Satirical Soldier has shared an awful lot of these as well, which is great to see. We've got one here from Satirical Soldier too, from his own post. This announcement came out from the National Party. The National Party are saying Justin Barrett's no longer the leader. Justin Barrett's contesting this and saying he is the leader. There was an article that came out during the week that said €400,000 worth of gold went missing from a vault in Dublin 4, according to someone there, allegedly, respectively. And what was the response from the government? It wasn't to name who they have for or anything like that. It was more so to go, let's look into why the National Party have 400,000 worth of gold. It's like, oh, you're doing that, is it? Well, let's see if there's any links between Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, Labour, and any of these other parties with any of these big companies that have promoted Voldemort over the last couple of years. Chances of that happen? Anyone? Nobody? No? So anyway, that's going to be interesting to see from here on out. But the National Party themselves now haven't done themselves any favour when it came to removing Philip. And then Ireland First party that has Derek Blythe has started up is doing really well. Irish Freedom Party is doing well too. So the National Party are also saying as well too that Justin Burr has had a hands-off leadership and there hasn't been a lot of movement or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see how things shape up from there. But not good. But this is the point in time when you're supposed to be looking at what's going on and you're supposed to be getting behind, I suppose, an upcoming election, because that's going to come sooner rather than later. And instead now there's more chaos going on there. So I think a lot of people look at that and go, right, that's the end of that now, Sad. Aidan O'Riordan says, respectable businessman by day, promoter of IST slogans by night. Shop around, folks. Spotted in Fairview. Irish Lives Matter. So you're apparently a racist, according to Aidan O'Riordan, according to this here, for saying Irish Lives Matter. Interesting, that one, isn't it? I think we've got one here as well, too, from this guy here, Brian Garrigan. This is a businessman saying Irish Lives Matter. Now, this is from Eastwall, the Eastwall protest that happened recently. This is important, and this is something that is needed. It is absolutely imperative that businessmen are going to come on side, because this is what I'm talking about. This is something that Patrick Bet-David was talking about. He was saying that, he says, the way to challenge these people, and it's like when you were in school, I suppose, or whatever stage you might be at during your life, and you're getting picked on and bullied, and it might be a physical thing, it might be, and you go and you train. You learn how to box, or you learn some kickboxing, you learn some taekwondo, or, people might say, oh, you're going to learn jiu-jitsu. Listen, jiu-jitsu is absolutely useless to you if you're out and you're having an issue outside, because what are you going to do, roll around the ground? Well, it's going to be bad end for you now, because that's, again, if there's various other people out there, you're unable to defend yourself. So that's a silly thing. Anyway, going back on what I was saying, when you have that sort of mentality and you say, okay, how do I do this? Well, how do you challenge the bully? Well, you get stronger, you get better at what you're able to fend them off. What happens then as well too, other people that are part of your group and your friendship are also there to help you out. And again, like your trainers, they're there, you become friendly with them, and they welcome you as part of the group and they look after you. That's how things go. So similarly as well too, when you have businessmen on side here with us, this is what I keep talking about. This is where it's going to really come into the fore here. You businessmen that are out there that are seeing what's going on in America, I'm sure, and they're going, these people are able to walk out of stores there once their equipment in their bags that they're stealing is under $1,000. Like, that's me. That's my stuff if they decide to do something like that here. So they're saying that they're ahead of the curve when it comes to that too. Now, not all of them, because there are some business people that are afraid to do something like this, and they're afraid to do this because of them being called names. That's where we're at. They're also afraid as well too, because when it comes to these things, they're saying, oh, what if people won't give me business anymore? I'm guaranteeing you the Irish people will give business towards this here. And that's what they want to see. The Irish people want to be seeing this, because saying Irish Lives Matter isn't racist. But I'm telling you what, telling people that you want a room full of just brown and black people, that's racist. That's certainly racist. So, to me, I think this is a good thing to see, and I say fair play to them, and I hope that more businessmen stand up and they stand together. And that's something that, I have to be honest with you, is going to make moves, because if these people in business stand together, you have to realize that what's going on with the government is a big business. And as I said before, the memes that are out there, it's a business that it's given no incentive to follow through on any of the promises that they make, because they just keep getting back in. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, they're being told to do it by other people. Now, if you have businesses that descend from that, well, then what happens is then people move with that curve and they go, I like a bit of that. Look at UFC. UFC has taken off, and it's taken off over the last year or so as well too, because Dana White has the opinion of, you can say whatever you want. So that's attractive, and it's attractive to a lot of people, whereas people are going, I'm going to be told that I should be wearing gay laces and should be anti-istaphobe and all that. But when it's James McLean getting abused, nothing's been said about that. But Marcus Rashford gets a bit of stick and they're going, oh, it's the worst thing in the world. Yeah, I'm turning that off. I want to go and watch what your man's doing over here in the UFC. And what did Nate Diaz say to Jake Paul? I'll have a bit of that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you got this nonsense that you have going on with businesses afraid to come out and say what's what and stick together. This is great to see. It's great to see business people being on side. It really is. So let's jump through here and have a look here. Ogre Fianna Fáil put out this tweet here. It's from the 24th of July. And it says, we're calling for Helen McEntee to resign with immediate effect. Read more below. McEntee needs to go. Now, I'm under no illusion, as are you, that this is coming from up and around the top. And this is how they're going to try and build momentum. Because at the end of the day, these politicians are all aware. They're all aware that they want to look after themselves and keep their own selves in the best interest as much as possible. I mean, you look at the current situation. Like, if you're Fianna Fáil, you're seeing a disastrous reign by Leo Varadkar. You're seeing disastrous things being done by the Green Party. Like, what I'm saying to you is, Fianna Fáil are on a bit of an out there. They're part of all of this. I'm not saying they're not. But what I'm saying is, if you are them, surely they're looking at the situation and they're going, well, that's Leo's colleague there. That's pushing this hate speech stuff there. We voted for it too, but that's him and her that's done that. You've also got Roderick there that's had to come in under off a lot of spotlight, and no one seems to like Simon Ryan. I mean, would they not be a party that should be sitting there going, probably fancy our chances here? You know what I mean? Should we pull the plug? No, they're not going to. They're all doing the same. But it's all this thing of, she should resign. Arrest these people. Arrest these people in politics. Simple. Satir Gasol says, Helen McEntee, resign, clear out your office, pack your bags and go away. Drew Harris too. You pair of failures are more interested in spying on the far right and policing language than securing the border and policing the streets. RTE savage attack on US tourists 6 hours after arrival. Satir Gasol is right here when he says this. Absolutely 100% correct. They're more interested in horty wars and horty fifis because of what's been told to them from above. They've been told to stifle free speech. They've been told to stifle public dissent, because what is happening is people around the world are getting ideas when they see what's going on here. Like I said before, you don't see anything from Afghanistan anymore. You don't see anything from Sri Lanka anymore. Afghanistan bounced 7 NGOs out of the country within a week. They did an interview with BBC. They were asked would they let females be running, not even like in charge of the place, running elections. And the lads laughed at them. Turned the cameras off. Stupid question. Ridiculous. Because they have to look around and go, what clown world has gone on around in the West? Look at what's happening. So there you go. When it comes to this here, he's absolutely correct. Let's have a look at this. This is another thing now. I have to be honest with you. You know, if I gave you my real thoughts, I'd probably be no longer on the platform, really, if I'm being honest. Because if I said my actual thoughts on what I think it is here, I don't think when they have a sign like this, I think none of these people here, I'll keep it PG, I think none of you can call yourselves mothers. You're absolutely disgusting individuals. And how do I know you're disgusting individuals? Look at the mush on all of these people. You have various degrees of Jabba the Hutt. You've got women. This is like a little clown here. Look at the two of them there with the TT green and everything like that. 2 Owens there. You've got other Owens as well too. That are all in like Lego in bits. You've got those that are hanging around here. Don't mind me here, guys. I'm just supporting. I'm with you. I identify as a mammy. I do. You know what I'm saying? You've got not one attractive woman that's along here. You know what I'm saying? I keep saying it. Ugly leftist women. Look at this. That's a picture in itself, lads. It really is. Look at us, guys. Mummies for this sort of stuff here. Putting children up. And this is the thing. This is how far we have fallen as a society. This is what the Joker's talking about. The public are allowing this sort of stuff go on. And these people are being given a voice. Look at me, my 15 badges and my lanyard and all like that. Oh, Sheila thinks she's John. Absolutely, that can happen. Space cadets, man. Absolute space cadets. Years ago, these people had been committed, they would, and they'd have been left where they were, and they'd have been put in a jacket, and that had been the end of it. You know what I'm saying? So, again, just shows you. Just shows you. Sinn Féin has called, so if you're thinking that Sinn Féin are getting out of this sour dodge here and not being talked about, they certainly aren't. Sinn Féin has called for new legislation for Northern Ireland to make puberty blockers available to young trans teens. Now, think about that. Okay? You're a teenager, you can't have an alcoholic beverage. You can't go and get a tattoo. You can't smoke a cigarette. But guess what you can do? If you think you're Sheila and you happen to be christened Michael, well then, little Michael is on the way out. And what you have is you've got Sheila. And that's a permanent decision that you are making, and a decision that is messing with chemicals that you don't know what's going to do in the long term. And I would say this, the large amount of people that are out there now that are saying that they've shut off the chemicals and they've decided to go away from it have said that they have suffered massively. You also then still have a high percentage in that group, with it being 41%. People would say, well, they're underrepresented, they're disliked. They've gotten more media attention now than ever. They've gotten more love than ever, and still the figure remains 41%. I don't know about you, but that would signify to me that there's a mental issue there, not any other sort of issue. But this is Sinn Féin. This is modern Sinn Féin, by the way. And look at the jaw on this thing here. I keep saying it, lads, and I know people are being going, Ninja, you're talking about the looks. But lads, every single time, always an ugly woman. Every time. Like, anyone that I see saying normal stuff on this side of the fence, I'm like, generally 9 times out of 10, good looking woman. You know what I'm saying? Look, you got Jay Leno here running around telling people, you can totally be another Jenner. Oh, totally. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. More than 500 people are likely to be accepted under a government's Afghan admission program. Now, these are the people, by the way, and I'm just going to be curious to see how this rolls out. These are people that have scarpered from Afghanistan. So if you've scarpered from Afghanistan, you're not interested in what's going on over there now at the moment. But when you look at what's going on over there at the moment, who's scarpering from Afghanistan? A lot of people that helped out the Yanks. Make of that what you will. And also then you've got people that are up to no good. Because I tell you what, the fellas that run the shop take no messing. So what you're getting into your country prospectively is probably not anybody that's a neurosurgeon, probably not anybody that's going to be out there and it's going to be doing things for the wider good. I would highly doubt it. So, just letting you know, establishing response to the humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan after the guys returned to power there almost 2 years ago. Don't hear that much about the place at all. How come they're skipping over like 15 Muslim countries to come to here though? Why is that? Why are they doing that though? Why are they taking 500 and more than 500, by the way? So more than 500, by the way, means anything. Especially when you're listening to this rag here. Like this geekball rag here. This ragball rovers type nonsense that you see from these people. More than 500. What does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean 501? Does it mean 5 million? Do you know what I'm saying? More than 500 means anything. That's open-ended. And you still have a problem here. You still have homeless here on the streets that the Irish government showed no interest in helping out at all. Oh, we can do flotels for the lads. What? What about the homeless? Well, you're some sort of bigotophobe because you don't house the homeless in your gaff. No, you've missed the comment of what I said because you're a stupid person. What I'm just after saying is, I don't want to house nobody in my gaff. What I'm saying to you is how come the flotels weren't putting up there for the homeless people, our own people? Why are they only being initiated and put up for foreign guys that are coming into this country? Why not our own? Would that not be preferable? Would everybody not be winning there? But you're a racist. Okay, explain the definition of the word racist and tell me what racist means. They never come back. They don't understand what the word means. It's been utilized too much. They're too stupid to understand this. So I think this is all of the stuff that I had on that one there. Let's go on to the next one. But it's incredible, isn't it? You're the bigotophobe. Hang on here for a second. I don't think a kid should be able to change what they are and be a permanent decision. I mean, that's like coming around and saying, hey, I'm 10 years of age and I believe I'm Batman. And people going, yeah, that's grand. I'll tell you what we're going to do is we're going to put the cape on you and you're going to be made wear the cape forevermore. Like, what? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, no, you can't take the cape off. I'm still codwab. So let's have a look here. This is from Derek Bloig. Fairness to him now. He's going out. He's asking questions of politicians. Love to see it. Let's have a look here now. Get this booting up.
The people elected you to represent them here in Charleville, and you know that meeting up there today was an absolute joke. People came out with concerns about healthcare, about street safety, about housing, and there was no questions answered.
Have you any comments?
No.
Look,
You've no comment at all.
No.
Thank you. You're not being very helpful, you know that?
Thanks, man.
You expect the people of Charleville to vote for you again next time round. Hopefully. With that attitude, I doubt it very much. The people elected you.
Like, I love that. I think, you know what I mean? I said it a while ago, and this is the thing. You see, this is the stark difference between this side of the fence and the left, right? The left are all gormless individuals that have been raised with silver spoons in their mouths and have lofty ideas. You see, these people are on the left think, oh, communism's a great idea. Isn't that a real valuable thing that we can do here? Yeah, yeah, by the way, Lefty, are you going to house any of these asylum seekers or refugees in your house? Oh, no, I don't have the space. In fact, I'm actually being evicted this week. Oh, right, okay. But this guy here, for example, is a bricklayer. So this guy knows exactly what's going on. Like, this guy is just an average Joe. He's someone that I like, I have to be honest with you. And I like this style here. I like the style of asking questions towards politicians and what they think. And, you know, hopefully I'll be elected. Everybody knows what the story is there. But the more difficult that's made for them, in elections in particular, then that's what's going to have a real sway. Like, if you have, I don't know, if the guy that's there being interviewed has got something like 2,000 votes in Cork and that's what's got him his seat, if you've got 3,000 people that are in Cork, for example, that are following Derek and they're giving Derek support and they're going to meetings and stuff like that, that's included, well then that 3,000 people should outweigh the 1,000 that's voting for the other clown, no? Now I know that when it comes to vote transfers and the likes like that, that's how a lot of these people get by. But that's why it's important for multiple nationalists to be running in different areas so you can play that system too, if that's going to be the case. But I'd love to see this. I'd love to see politicians be questioned. And that's where we're at now as a society. We're at the point in time where politicians slinking in and out of places, saying their spiel that they've been told to say and going out there without being questioned is over. But they have initiated this. So as I keep saying to people, these politicians have the gall to turn around and say, oh my God, you can't be asking me questions. Well, absolutely, you should be asked questions of, because you are people, by the way, that voted to suspend people's civil rights, liberties and freedoms because of the sniffles. You have no concern about an open border policy that's been run rampant now into the country. You're supporting every leftist, woke, nonsensical thing that you can. And it's not flying. It's different. Yankee Land accepted this stuff for about 10 years. It's over now on Yankee Land. And yet you people think it's going to be a good idea to start to hear. Terrible idea. But I welcome this sort of stupidity from politicians because it is waking people up hand over fist. It's great. Now, this is Galway. Let's have a look at what's going on in Galway. Like, look at this. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm saying to you. I've said to people on Twitter as well, too. I'm like, well, I tell you what, with the boy's name being the most popular one being Mohammed in 2022, I think it was there in Galway City. Gonna be interesting times, lads. And I tell you what, when your pride parade's running around in June, you're being told, but now by these people, guess who's not going to support you? This guy. Because I'm going to go, well, I don't like saying what I'm saying here, but when they're telling you now in June, good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So let's have a look. This is Galway. Now, people that say, oh, I thought that this was like, you know, Beirut. I thought that this was the Lebanon. I thought that this was probably Afghanistan. No, this is Galway 2023. And you know what is hilarious, right? Is that the left are very upset when you criticize this religion for any reason. Now, I would definitely go towards the Tyrical Soldier because he would have vast more experience with what this religion is about and has seen stuff firsthand. But what I always find interesting is that in this religion, the women are in a position of no influence and they're also in a position of being told what to do. Now, the left, by the way, are in the flip of a position. You've got a lot of lefty women that are out there telling people what to do. So this is going to be conflicting. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here on out. This is Derek's video. I had that one up there. Now, this is another video that Derek put out, and I have to be honest with you, JD Wetherspoons as well was trending over the weekend, and that was because, and I'm going to give you the context of what happens here in the video. Derek wore a t-shirt that says 1 male, 2 female, that's it. There's only men, and there's only women. He was asked to take it off in Wetherspoons and was later then ejected from the pub for wearing that. So let's have a look at this video here, this compilation.
You just asked me to change my shirt.
I've asked you to cover the top.
I won't. I'm refusing.
You know that that's wrong. In your heart and your soul, you know that that's wrong. You do. You're an intelligent young man.
Because of that,
You know that's wrong.
Unfortunately, if you don't, then I won't be able to serve you anymore. So
So that's the T-shirt. Like, that's it. It's just unbelievable. But as you're seeing there, it seems like, and people that say it in the chat now, they'll be straight onto the accent of the barman. The crown never left. And when you look, and a lot of people have been talking about this as well too, when you look at RTE and when you look at the police now, who's overseeing them? Well, there seems to be people that are followers of the crown. Well, that makes sense. It means then that these people never actually really left. Who's running the show is becoming a bit more clear. And also this stuff, or these things that have been said by the likes of Micheál Martin, we want no part in looking back at a backwards way of Irish society, so sovereignty. What? What's he talking about? He's saying that you don't want sovereignty. I think you might want to chat to those fellas over 100 years ago, because that's what they were fighting for. Nonsense. But fair play to Derek here, because that's a great T-shirt. But look how nonsensical it is too, by the way. Oh no, I'm at the putting that there. One speed I want to go on to. You've got Gardaí that turned up, and it's 4 of them hanging around there. Now, again, this is why people are looking at that profession and not joining it first and foremost. And second, because I got a couple of comments, by the way, over the last while from people that said, my son and my daughter were intending on joining them, and they've seen what's going on, and they've decided, nah, not into that. I want to be doing that. I would say the opposite. I would say, hey, you should join them, because that would mean that there'd be more people that'd be outweighing the stupidity of people deciding to go down and attend to this here, where a guy is wearing a T-shirt that some idiot has said, oh, I find that offensive. I'll tell you what I find offensive. I find the rainbow flag and these people running around like mammies for trans kids. I find that offensive. Where's the Gardaí turning up to them saying they can't do that? You know what I'm saying? Double standards. And the more double standards that you see and the more depraved society goes, this is why you're seeing a hard shift back to how people want to go, and they're going, nah, I don't want this anymore. I'm not interested in that. Important. Very important. Let's keep going. Now, this came from, I think, Grafton Street, if I'm not mistaken here. And apparently these were Christian lads, and they were attacked by a fella here in blue that you're going to see here now in a moment. Now, the reaction from people is pretty interesting.
Whoa. Hey, aggressor! What are you doing? Why are you aggressor! Leave us in peace. Freedom of speech. Practice what you preach. 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 Hey,
you! That's aggression. That's assault.
Now, that is actually assault. That is actually assault there. Now, again, what's going to happen is you're going to meet the wrong person, and someone's going to lay a guy like this out. That's cause and effect here. And I'm not supporting or endorsing or saying people should do that. I'm just telling you the reality of the world here. That first and foremost, I'm going to say this. This guy wouldn't do this when it came to the lads in Galway there. This is just the first thing I'm going to say. The second thing is, this fella feels 100% entitled to bully these people because of the approach that they take as well. Okay? And what I'm saying by that is, you got to understand, when you see a movie like John Wick, right? Someone messes with John Wick and then they all go, oh no, they've messed with John Wick. Because they know that John Wick's a nice guy, but he's very capable of switching it on, we'll just say. So that's what guys like this have seen over the years with the likes of the Muslims and stuff like that. They go, oh, they'll switch it on there now if I get involved in any of that there. And they will. Whereas they see the guys like that here and they're going, aggressor. Now, I think that is the right way to go, that this has been filmed, because I hope that this man has been apprehended and charged for what he's done, because I do believe that the process of things should look at that in that way. But you are going to do this to the wrong person at some stage, and you're going to get laid out. And you're going to start meeting Christians now, and this is what I'm saying to you, it's beginning to turn, where you've got people that are there that are that type of way, that are going, oh, you're aggressor. But you are going to see people that have the mentality of like, what did their Lord and Savior do? Yeah, he went into the places, he went into the temples and flipped the tables, chased the lads out with whips. People forget about that, and they're going, that's the sort of stuff that I'm into. Because again, it was something that is constantly said by the left is, oh, I thought it was forgive and turn the other cheek. No. Our Lord and Savior was up for flipping tables there when it came to it. So this guy here acting this sort of way towards these guys, very negative. And you see the reaction from various people that are standing around, and one dude steps in. Where is he? This fella here. Now, that's when he decides to give it over, because I firmly believe, now again, I'm not in this guy's head, I'm not saying what he could and should have done, but when he starts to kick a guy and you get this guy that comes along, look at the difference between this buckle and the other guys that are here, right? He recognizes that once this fella gets involved, oh, this fella could lay me out here, and then he goes away, because this fella's clearly on the side of, hey, what you just did is wrong. And that's what you're seeing now in society. I saw a brilliant video there last week, and there was a fella walking down Talbot Street, I think it was, and he's seeing Romanians in front. Excuse me, I apologize when I say Romanians, because of Romanian friends, and they won't associate themselves with the Roma, and they're right not to. Well, the Roma is what I meant to say. The Roma were walking through Talbot Street, eating their food and throwing rubbish on the ground. And your man says to them, here you, pick that up and put that into the bin. They'll nick you. You absolute scruff, he says to them, right? And your man just looks. Now, the important thing is, first and foremost, is that your man had the camera on and was pointing the phone at them. So it's up to them at that point in time to go, I'm either on recording, doing this, and I'm not picking it up, and I'm deciding to annoy this guy, and I'm here on recording, or I decide to go over and attack this guy whilst he's recording me, which also doesn't work out well for you. So then your man just walk back and pick the stuff up and put it into the bin. But that's what I'm saying to you about society. And going back to what the Joker says, society is only, these people are only as good as society allows them to be. There should have been 15 people stepping in and going, here, what are you doing? Because the moment this guy goes over and starts ripping up their leaflets, if this is nothing to do with you, pass on, boy. That's what you lefties keep saying. Nothing to do with us. Don't want to know. Pass on, boy. But now you're starting to interject yourself into these things, and you're trying to show people exactly what you are, which is your emotional, violent, unstable characters. Fair play to this guy for stepping in, you know what I mean? I think that was fairness to him. He saw the situation that was unfolding and that was going to get a bit iffy, and stepped in there correctly, in my view. This is what I was talking about earlier on. So the LA Times, George Soros, the god who carries around some dangerous stuff, wouldn't go and say that, would more attribute him to this here. This is a quote from him here in this article, okay? It seems that Soros believes he was anointed by God. I fancied myself as some kind of god, he once wrote. You what? This is from 2004, by the way. If truth be known, I carried some rather potent messianic fantasies with me from childhood, which I felt I had to control, otherwise they might get me in trouble. This wheel seemed to have come off recently. When asked by Britain's independent newspaper to elaborate on that passage, Soros said, it is a sort of disease when you consider yourself some kind of god, the creator of everything, but I feel comfortable about it now since I began to live it out. These people are telling you exactly who they are. The forum do the same thing, by the way. So like I said, when you've got people that are dealing in billions and trillions and all that, this is what gives them their jollies. Like he said it in this LA Times article. It's there. This is from 2004. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the type of person you are dealing with. So when you say, hey, I don't understand why these people are doing these things, it's because they all share a common belief between themselves that they think this about themselves. I am sure there's members of government that think this about themselves. I'm sure that there's members of them there that when they get questioned by people on the street, they look at you, and you've seen the videos where they look in disgust that you would even ask them questions. Because I believe that they believe in themselves like this. It just makes sense then, doesn't it? Why they try to take God and Christianity out of the country and try to attribute then the state as being basically the God, don't they? That's what I think. Defence forces suffering major shortage of chefs, with Navy worst hit. Many personnel have quit for better pay and conditions in the private sector, and more are due to leave by the end of the year. So it looks like they need more women. Popular Dublin chipper to close permanently after nearly 3 decades. This is the after effect by the sniffles, by the way. This is all starting to bite them now, and the pubs too. The pubs are going to be the next ones. Locals have been left heartbroken after the beloved takeaway said they were forced to close due to the rising costs. This is the repercussions of the sniffles, by the way. So once that hasn't been handled, you're going to keep seeing things like this. You know, I'm hearing about restaurants and I'm hearing about shops that are closing all the time. And who does that benefit? Conglomerates. And it benefits the big conglomerates, because then they are going to control literally everything then. Look at your area now. Is your area becoming a 15-minute city? It sure is. Flight restriction order at Dublin Airport, idiotic, says Ryanair. Anytime I see him crying, I laugh because of what he did as well too throughout the sniffles. Passenger numbers return to pre-sniffles levels in July as 3.4 million travel through hub. I said, I hope you're happy and ready for the climate lockdown, lads. One woman recruited to the Defence Force out of 617 applicants amid psychometric test concerns. Psychometric testing for naval service paused amid concern about failure rate. Now, satirical soldier, if you're still out there listening, do a video on this, please. You'll be the best person to speak about this rather than I would. I'm actually going to link this article to you anyway, and I want to see a video. This is something I definitely want to see, but this is interesting here. Lads, ladies, we should say, they're looking for more women. I thought, you know, chefs, they're looking for chefs. Surely you can put those skills to work there, no? You have climate drought stricken. So this was Mexico. Mexico is turned into a controversial technology to make it rain. That's the article there. It's actually weather. This is cloud seeding that they're talking about. They're actually talking about it in the public, by the way. That there's increasing the TV license fee by €100, a small price to pay for ads-free RTE. Media Minister Catherine Martin. I'm going to keep my opinion to myself on that one. Department of Media refusing to publish report on TV license. Irish Independent August 4th is quoted as saying, anyway, nonsense. But the thing is that they've lost over 2.9 million, I think, now. People are just deciding not to pay. This works out for them because they're going to go, well, it just looks like we're just going to have to make it a tax. People shouldn't be taking it at all, I believe, wholeheartedly. Hasbro selling E1 to Lionsgate and deal worth $4 billion. So that means that their entertainment sphere is over. They're just giving it out to someone else. They're a company that's in trouble. Going broke. GRA pressing ahead with a vote of no confidence in Harris. The Garda Representative Association has confirmed it is pressing ahead with an unprecedented no confidence ballot in Garda Commissioner Drew Harris. Fair play to us, lads. I'm looking to see if you're going to redeem yourselves, because surely now at this stage of the game, you're all looking at the tea leaves and they're going, it's not looking good. Not looking good at all. But what happens? But what happens when you get him out? Are they going to appoint some other stewage? Are they going to appoint someone like the Canadian woman that has been recently brought into Garda Síochána? Are they going to just bring her up and put her in there? You know, this is what you're looking at. And this is why it's important for the Gardaí to be with the people and shouting out about what's going on, because surely to God, they should all collectively be thinking, hey, this guy that's from the PSNI running this is a bad idea. The Canadian that's assumed the position of high prominence and powers is a bad idea. 2 foreigners, essentially, that are running our police force. And a particular foreigner in this guy here that's got a penchant against certain people, perhaps allegedly, speculatively, because of what happened to his outfit. I don't know about you. It seems weird. But let's see what happens. After what I said there, ugly leftist women should be banned from positions of power and influence. Stand by that comment. I think that's a fairly accurate one. Man passes following serious assault in Dublin on Sunday. But Helen said the place is safe, though. I don't get why this happened. Helen said it's all good. You know, was Helen wrong? In a warmer world, is air conditioning inevitable? They are ubiquitous. Getting tired now, lads. In the United States, controversial in Europe and COVID in South Asia as heat waves intensify across the world. Air conditioning has taken over. Absolute nonsense here. Absolute nonsense. It's been freezing. It has here. It was freezing up until May, and then we got like a week where it was decent, and since then it's been piddling rain. TV license revenue drops 2.7 million in July. I was wrong. I think I said 2.9, did I there a couple of minutes ago? 2.7. Revenue continues to decline following the controversy around misreported payments to present the wrong company. You see, that's not the full extent of what's going on. People are tired of being lied to, and they're also seeing that they're getting nothing out of that. I'm talking to people that were big believers in what went on over the last couple of years, and to my surprise, one person in particular, they were asked to turn on the news by someone else, and they went, sure, all you're going to see is the blue and yellow flag waving country with problems. The world is in turmoil. Yeah, man, Joe was saying something silly, and they don't like Trump. And I was like, wow. And you were asleep. You were asleep at the wheel for the last few years, but now you're realizing this. Are you listening to me by any chance? But look at this. You got people that are going, no, I'm not doing this. Because why? Well, it's got to do with the lies that have been told. It's also got to do with the inflation that's going on, that people are going, I'm not taking part in this anymore. And also then the social contract that people are starting to form themselves, which is, hey, I don't think we should support this. And a lot of people are talking amongst themselves and going, I think you're right. I don't want to support that either. So people are starting to form their own opinion here, and they're starting to go, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not supporting them. I'm not willingly supporting this company. Willingly not supporting this at all. And I say fair play to them. I'm going to cut it out and put it in a frame. Young fans trailed as Ireland women's squad land at Dublin Airport. The media's attempt at making people interested in women's football has fallen flat. Nobody cares. Literally no one cares. New acts that can prevent people served with deportation order from returning comes into force. The residency requirement for children born in Ireland to apply for citizenship has also been reduced from 5 years to 3. You see, when they try to put out a headline like that, what they're trying to do is, hey guys, we're actually doing something about what's going on. Are you though? No. This is common sense. This should have been a case beforehand. What they're telling you is, hey, we're asking people to leave voluntarily. No, they should be forced out the door. That's what should be happening. Instead, they're like, you can't come back now once you've been served with a deportation order. Okay, but are you getting the person out of the country though? That's the question. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all just lip service to make look like they're doing something. And then the citizenship, they sneak that in there. Children born in Ireland to apply for citizenship has also been reduced from 5 years to 3. So 2 years less than, and they're, I'm just as paddy as you are. No, you're not. Absolutely, you're not. Not at all. They'll try and shrink that down as well too, just to be they'd be like, oh no, that doesn't come into effect. Did Ireland not vote on that? Say that that's not a runner at all. Women to appeal dismissal of action aimed at halting prosecution over alleged sniffles quarantine refusal. Annoying to women over the sniffles, says it all. Outfit there, look at it. Irish cardiac surgeon passes suddenly Jordan's cycling trip in France. A leading cardiothoracic, whatever way you might say, surgeon working at the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast has passed while on a cycling trip in France. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're a cardiac surgeon, like this guy is top of the field, and you're going, he died suddenly. He didn't have an inkling anything was going on. Well, that would put into question the medical profession for me, for sure, first and foremost. And second of all, it'd be like, well, why did he? What happened there? Why is the cases of the suddenlies gone through the roof? Why is this becoming more prevalent? Second half shooting woes cost Kerry an All-Ireland final, says Sean Kavanagh. Couldn't have cared less. I couldn't have cared less about this. I really couldn't. But didn't Spillane say that these fellas were on after taking the old Voldemort, you know? Maybe that's why they were off. I don't know. Anyway, National Party, Irish far, the BBC, look at the way the BBC report on the Irish far right's parties, stolen gun bars, spark fury, and kind of funding query. Nationalist Party, no. They're not a far right here. Well, you can take the lads out of Britain, but you can't take the Britain out of the lads, huh? BBC. You guys, the way you're writing about the Irish, huh? And then you have been harbouring all sorts of fellas there, like Jimmy and others there, you know. There's a want to talk there. It's really are. Clinton O'Toole, lads, this has also been very bad. The discourse in what's gone on. There's been an article a day, at least from like 4 or 5 publications that have been like, Sinead, she was ahead of her time. She was basically a person who was a crystal ball in human form, prophetic. Have you seen anything what she said at all? No? Okay, right, yeah. She was a kind of headbanger there about 4 years ago. We're all saying, oh, she's off it again, lads, boy. Because it was good to write it in your articles to get a bit of attention, to get people to pick up the paper. And now he's all waxing lyrical. You see, this is how duplicitous and two-faced the media is. These same people and same outlets would have been out there hounding this woman, whatever way you want to look at it. I don't like her and didn't like her. And I think, like Geldof, she's dined out on a song for the entirety of her life. One song between them. And this person then has the gall, and these articles have the audacity to be like, it's incredible, isn't it? It's incredible how two-faced these people are. It really is. Sinead O'Connor's honesty was a curse for her, but a blessing for us. Who is this guy? Who is he? The singer shattered our perfect circle of denial about abuse and trauma. These are the same articles and outlets that were calling you racist only 2 weeks ago for pointing out what's going on, pointing out the truth. There seems to be an awful lot of fellas that are coming into this country and they're ripping up documents. You're a racist, you are. Far right, you are. Bigot. Listen, I don't think these masks are going to do anything to stop the sniffles here, lads. You're a bigot phobia, a science denier, an anti-vaxxer. Right? Okay. I don't think we should be trusting the company, and certainly companies that have had penalties that they've paid for massive criminal behaviour. You're anti-science. And you're a racist. Oh, stop. These would be the same outlets that would be like in 10 years' time. Well, sure, look, it looks like the people that were the vocal minority were actually right about this here, lads. Listen, they'll never acknowledge that, by the way, but you know that they probably do think it privately. If you had been abused and traumatized, you were probably half cracked and since you were, and then it goes off then to talk absolute spiel. Isn't it incredible? It really is. Updated spoofers could be authorized by the end of the month, this company says. That's a company that has a massive criminal history and has paid big criminal fines. But this is how corrupt the world is, that they're able to do this. Their maker's prediction comes as sniffles hospitalizations are once again on the rise. What is going to happen next year? Oh, that's right. The Yanks are going to go and vote for a new president, aren't they? Well, that looks like just in time for that to happen. That's amazing, isn't it? It's almost like the one in 2020 was designed to do that too. Well, I think they'll probably do it again, but I think it might be a different outcome this time. I think if they do what they did again, I'll be honest with you, I thought what they did with the, what were they called? The midterms, I think it was. When they were messing with those, I was like, we might see number 2 in Yankee land soon. We might see that then. But I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be pushed out. And it didn't. I think they probably wound the neck in a little bit when it came to that, because I think it was a bit obvious then at that stage. But it's going to be super interesting to see what they do in 2024. You know, like they've got to pull out something. They've got to pull a rabbit out of the hat there before, you know, that man gets back in. And if he does, I don't think he's going to do all that much, but he's going to cause more issues for these people by talking, you know. Vegan raw diet influencer Zana the Art passes of starvation. Now, I don't know about this, because then they said that she had some sort of viral infection or something like that. Now, that would probably have something to do with her eating stupid things, like just surviving on seeds and fruit. Sure. But, like, isn't it weird how these things happen and have been happening now just more recently? Like, oh, yeah, this has happened. This is a terrible idea. You've got one way of looking at this, and I suppose it is, you've got this person as an influencer, and so is Lizzo. Two opposite ends of the scale, and they're like, both of these women are beautiful. It's like, no, they're not. This woman clearly needed a more sufficient diet. And then, was she up to anything else other than that? Was there something taken over the last year or so that could have contributed to this, or is it purely down to a lack of food? Who knows? But stupidity around here, lads, anyway. All Ireland winning hurler and inter-county referee Jimmy Cooney dies at 68. Another died suddenly. They actually said that in the article, by the way. Died suddenly. Seems to be common practice nowadays. You know, don't question that though at all. UCD student who lived in tent on Belfield campus on brink of returning to homelessness. Why don't you just go home to your own country though? Surely you have a home there. Faith Comba, 29, completed her first year in social policy and sociology. What? Right, okay. You will not need it. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. In my opinion, that's a spoof course. Social policy and sociology. What? What? Well, guess what, guys? We're going to replace the Gardaí with social workers. So what do you think is going to happen? Try that in America, it didn't work. Backfired big time. But yet, you're being treated to an article here from the Irish Times to say, feel sorry for this woman. What about the Irish people that can't get any digs, I suppose, or any places up there? What about them? Oh no, you have to feel sorry for this woman. Well, she should just bounce off home and do her studies at home. So I'd highly doubt wherever this woman's from that social policy and sociology is a thing wherever she is. I'm sure that the people that are there going to college are probably going to be doctors, dentists, lawyers, whatever it might be. They look at an article like that and they go, "What? What are you talking about? Social policy?" James Connolly plaque unveiled at his former home in Ringsend. Look at the mush on your man over here. Now, I think that's a Sinn Féin former Lord Mayor. What is going on? Like the penguin he is there from the Tim Burton movies. You know? New RTE chief makes office spend admission after eye water and some splashed. New RTE boss Kevin Backhurst has revealed he has not spent a cent of licence payers' money revamping his office as Director General. Fair play to you, Kevin. You've redecorated and revamped your office and you didn't spend the money of the people. Oh, what a good man you are. Good man, Kevin. Oh, we'll give him a big back pat there. Fair play to the son. Fair play to the son putting this out there. What a very conscientious individual. Spoof, isn't it? Unreal. Right, it's July on record in Ireland. Data suggests no surprise when the people in planes are playing X's and O's in the sky cloud seeding. Makes sense, doesn't it? More than 600 undocumented migrants waiting over a year for a decision on their status. Deport them. Deport them. Yuval Harari, Klaus's right-hand man, has called for the so-called conspiracy theorists to be banned from the internet because of their dangerous belief that a global clique of scroungers controls the world. What an odd thing for the scroungers at the forum to say. That's what he said, by the way. He actually said that. Now, I don't know with a name like that. All you have to do is you have to look into it and you have to say, wonder what sort of thing he follows. And again, you look at it and you go, Time for parents to fight back. Elon Musk is once again speaking out against doubtfire politics, calling upon parents to fight back and protect their children from the ideology. Musk is doing good stuff, I have to be honest with you there. Sinead O'Connor sent text laden with despair to Bob Geldof in weeks before her passing. I said, two miserable people who died out in one song for most of their lives. I don't care. I just don't. You know what I mean? I don't care. This is a person, by the way, and this fella as well too, the same. Anti-vaxxers just can't believe it. Just go out and take it there, guys. Like, are you not supposed to be people that were against the system for your entire lives? But see, when it was convenient, you decided to fall in with the system. You know, that's why you have to admire Johnny Rotten. At least Johnny Rotten's consistent. He's like, no, here, what's the story, the snivelling that's going on? Nice one, Johnny. The reality of life in Eastwall months after arrival of asylum seekers. Members of the community in Eastwall have said life has continued as normal in the area since protests against the arrival of asylum seekers to the area. That seems like a lie. And the Times UK are reporting on that. And it says, protect their kids and certain greedos are not welcome. Nice. How come the Times, you're putting that article as if that's a negative thing? Is that not something that you should be also supporting? It's like you don't like Sound of Freedom. That's weird, isn't it? I'm sure you were also out there telling you that the Sound of Freedom was a conspiracy theory movie. Nice one, lads. Finton Hotel, Finton's back again. Our habit of jetting off to sun holidays won't down well. Just ask Icarus. You know, that's two stupid articles from Finton, if I'm being honest with you. And that's Clown World stuff, lads. Clown World stuff. Jude Bellingham has applied for an Irish passport. This is an example of how bad things are, by the way, because this is an English fella out and out there and from elsewhere, someone else to say. Do you know why he's doing this? He's doing this so Real Madrid can register him as a European, and then it means then he can circumvent, as you can see here, the La Liga rules. That's why. That's how much of a joke this is. That if anyone was serious in this country, they'd flat out say, no, you're not getting it. No way. Is that not like, are Real Madrid then not guilty of like trying to circumvent things there where that's the case? Like they're actively out there doing this in people's faces. Base Real Madrid though, let's be honest with you, because they're the only ones during the month of June that didn't put up any rainbow stuff there. In fairness to them, you know. Corkman charged in special criminal court with a certain 3-letter membership. The guy was arrested on Tuesday morning and is also accused of having in his possession 263 rounds of ammunition. Okay, right. What about the fella who turned up to the protest there in Ballybrack there, the detective that was looking around? He was like Walter Mitty, he was. That's something to take a soldier say. Like Walter Mitty looking around. Oh, that minds me here, lads. I'm just walking around here. I'm like Gru from in the... I'm like Gru there. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. But he was turning up to that there. Why was he doing that? Don't know. It's weird. Climate change requires urgent response, says President Michael D. Higgins. Go away. Go away. Shut up, little man, and go away. Has called for the world to increase the urgency of its response to the existential threat of climate change. Shut up. Shut up, you little fool. You're a little fool. And you haven't got much more longer. What are you, like 84? Shut up. Do whatever you're doing in the Oris, and you're up to no good in the Oris. Allegedly, speculatively. Well, in my opinion, you're up to no good, because when you decided to have a party for all the group there, the Rainbow Gang in June, that was weird. Weird. But shut up. Your opinion is not counted by nobody. I don't care what title you have. Nothing. Oh, the weather. The weather is a big threat. Shut up. It probably is for you, because if you stepped into a puddle that was 3 inches, you'd probably have difficulty. Fool. Anyway, let's keep going. Man sentenced to 7 years after... Okay, right. I can't even read that full article, by the way. But here's the thing. This is how this country is so bad. This guy should never be out of prison, ever. We just gave him 7 years. Did I not read an article like about 3 months ago that said that someone got something like a sentence of 10 years for selling dodgy boxes or something like that? Did I not do that? It's absolute clown world. Now, in fairness to Conor McGregor, and some will say they don't like Conor McGregor, but he drew attention to this, and he was like, this is bang out of order. This fella should never see the light of day ever again. And then people were like, well, actually, Conor, they can't do anything like that to deal with the capital because the EU. And Conor was like, yeah, look to the EU. Get out. Ireland on its own. And he didn't say it. He did it with emojis, though. But he should say it. He should be down supporting people in Ballybrack, too. But look at how insane this country is. 7 years. This, I can't even describe what I would want to say. I just can't, because this platform won't allow me. But I'm telling you, this fella should never see the outside ever again. And in fact, is fortunate to be sitting in a jail. It's unbelievable stuff. But this is how it's been reported in the media. There's more aggression about Paddy going out onto the street and saying, hang on here, invaders coming into the place, not welcome around here. There's more aggression in the media about that than there is about this. A man who cannot be named. Are you for it to protect the identity of the victim? Hear what you're saying on that, but you still should be naming them. Do you know what I'm saying? They've no problem identifying those of Graham Carey. No problem running around saying negative things about Philip Dwyer or Gavin Pepper. No problem doing that. We can't identify him. Why? It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. That's how you know you live in a country that's completely lawless. It's totally upside down. And that's how bad the judicial system is. 7 years there. And do you know what the worst thing about this is? This idiot will probably... I'm using idiot because I can't use the other words that I want to use. But this yoke will probably get off early for good behaviour. Not the usual stint that these people pull. And then back out into the system then. It's absolutely absurd. It's criminal. This is an injustice, is what this is. Country is upside down, man. Honest to God. Helen McEntee backs Drew Harris. Questions merit of no confidence vote by Gardaí. She's telling the Gardaí that they're wrong. She's actually saying to you guys, by the way, that are in the Gardaí, is it wrong for doing this? What do you think about that? Huh? Con your opinion into question. Mad stuff, that one. I think I showed this last week. I did, didn't I? I did that, doesn't it? When I can see that there. But yeah, I saw that one last week. That's from last week's stream. That is, caught that one I did like. But there you go. That's what went on over the last week or so here in Ireland. I am going to jump into the comments now and say hello to the people in the comments. Thank you very much for waiting around. Obviously, thanks to everybody listens in live. I highly appreciate that. I'll talk to you next week, 7:30 Irish time, Friday. We've had over 150, I think, steady here tonight, which has been great. There's 164, as you can see here in the chat. Great to see that, and thanks very much for dropping in live. Really appreciate that. We've got a Tangent that sends in a super sticker. Steve Dixon sends in a super sticker as well too. Thanks, guys. Much appreciated. So you've got that wrapped up. Guys, look after yourselves. Have a good weekend. God bless. I'll jump into the comments here now and see what's going on. Thanks to the people that are out there at Ninja Night, which helps me run through the chat here. It does. Elena says, Ninja Night, London Mayor recently said that London was built by immigrants. Try as I might, I cannot find any historical architects or classical composers. Do you know of any? Genuinely interested? I'll have a look into that one, I will. Steve Dixon, one woman out of 700 made it to be recruited. Gassed. Earlier about says, you wouldn't like my cooking skills, Ninja. Are they bad? Are they bad? IDGAF, great handle there. Weak men breed hard times. 100%. Brian Bruce's men are the best chefs. Well, it's no wonder that you see the likes of Gino De Campo and Gordon Ramsay be top of the pops there, is it? You know, it's an interesting thing. What do we see here? Sean Mack, apparently 600 women applied to join the Irish Army since January and only one made a true recruitment selection. Says it all about the standard of women applying. Well, let's be honest here, and I'm going to say it out straight. Look at the average woman here in Ireland and ask yourself, are they fit? Are they? They're not. The average woman isn't fit. And this is the thing. And this is what has happened and what has been cultivated in society for a very long time. You know, you have a generation of women now that have grown up believing that they are 10s. Most of them are 4s. And you see, this is the thing, and what gets mistaken an awful lot of the time. Men earn their value they do through hard work and through sacrifice and through the acts that they take. And they do. Women earn a lot of value through how they look. Like an extremely attractive woman has no concept and will never have any concept of what it's like to be a bog standard average dude. No concept. She's off on a yacht and she's getting around with the world through her looks. And best of luck to her. That's just how things work. You know, you see Georgia Salba, for example, probably one of the best looking women I've ever seen. And it makes sense that what she's doing now, well, she's down, retired from modelling, and she's living, I think, with a millionaire in a big fancy house, and they have kids together, and it's happy as Larry. Know what I'm saying? So when you see that happening in real life there, where you see the bog standard Irish woman that's hanging around there, that's, as Kevin Samuels was saying, you know, he was talking to American women, he was talking about them, about their BMI, about the body weight, and he said, like, the difference between American men, now again, I'll have to look at statistics here in Ireland, but certainly in America, over, I think it was 30 to 40 years, the average weight of a man had increased by 5 pounds. And he says the average weight of a woman in America over that same course of time had increased by 40. So he was like, there's way more women that are overweight here. And this is what's going on and what's happening. And I would say it's similar very much so here. Like, everybody knows the woman that's the gym bunny. We all know them. They're few and far between. You know, you see most women nowadays that have been raised, they're raised up on takeaways, and I watch Love Island, I do, and I sit around like that, and you're like, okay, and then they're going, I don't want any kids now, you know, I want to have 15 different Gucci bags, and you're looking at them going, all right, I want to be an IB them, great, it's going to work out well. But yeah, I'm not shocked when you see that sort of return there. Sheepdog's in here, says good evening, Ninja Night and chat. Mark C says, Ninja, who the heck is voting for Sinn Féin or going to vote for Sinn Féin? People that believe in them. People that believe in them. You know, it's like a football team. There's people that are out there that will vote for them no matter what. Absolutely. John Johnston's in here, says, good evening all. Good to see you here. Witty Will says, Ninja Night, great coverage on the madness on this island. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. I try my best. I just give my opinions when it comes to these things. Let's see what else is going on. This is one of my favourite parts, by the way, being able to read through the chat, seeing what people are saying. Bon Maman says, Sarah Coxon, a cop from Toronto, will be the next Garda commissioner. She loves Alphabet Brigade parties. That's who I was talking about, I think, earlier on. So there shall be a video, I suppose, coming on that. Support your local Trumpy, people are saying in the Mick O'Keefe here, this one here, Wakanda forever. You know what the funny thing is? I actually really was disappointed with the Black Panther movie, but it was purely because I was like, I went in with the expectations of a really good movie because I like the character, love the character as a matter of fact. But when they did the movie like they did, I was like, oh no. I was like, they've gone for this aspect here. Terrible. Let's keep going. Jonathan Ross says, Ninja Knight, only the USA and China have a higher GDP than that super investment fund. Yeah. So they're like global superpowers, and they're the only ones that are actually the ones. And still, at the end of the day, these people are telling them what to do. Like, it's like you're not supposed to have a monopoly. It's actually in law in America of more than 50%. And these 4 companies that are out there, by the way, have nearly 88% in some places. And that's through the majority of companies. So when people are misunderstanding why Disney are doing what they're doing it at the behest of these people. Losing hundreds of millions means nothing because these people have an infinite amount of money to pump into these things. Will they dial it back? I don't know. I don't know if the MCU is going to recover. I don't think it will. So Eagle Day says, Ninja Knight, you have a Telegram. Generally think you should. You're as good as Keith Woods, in my opinion, with this stuff. I subscribe to him too. He's great. I'd love it if you had Telegram too. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. I do not have Telegram yet, though. So it's something that I have thought about setting up for sure. I have thought about it for sure. I'll have to keep an eye on that now going forward. Anybody that knows about Telegram, let me know, because I don't know much about it at all. I have to start up there. Tangent sends in a super sticker. Much appreciated. Armchair Limerick National says, sound for the stream, Ninja Knight. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. CK Media is in here. I think that chat's just at the jumping. Let's see, hang on, that is at the jump. CK Media says, great to see you here, Ferg, a true Irish patriot. Sarah Clifford says, hi Ninja, great to listen live, love your content. Thanks very much, much appreciated for you being in here. It's great to see when you see Ferg and Mick and Toby and the Irish Inquiry and Irish Git and Satirical Soldier in here in the lives. It's great, I love it. Ninja Knight, Nick is amazing. That's Nick in America. He's made some very interesting comments over the last while, and I think for a lot of people are like, well, objectively, when you look at it and listen to what he's actually saying, it's like, I hear what he's saying. I understand. Anyone see that Leo said the government will not get rid of Drew Harris even if he gets a vote of the confidence? Oh my God. That'll put the cat amongst the pigeons. You know, actually, that's probably a good outcome. I think that's a good outcome because then that'll probably annoy them further. And we'll see what happens there then. Elena says, Ninja Knight, if Helen and Drew go, who will replace them? Could it be from the frying pan into the fire sometimes? Yeah. No, that's always the threat, by the way. It's always the threat of like the person that could come after them is worse for sure. But I don't think now the way things are moving, I don't think they would be able to. I think whoever would be in there next would have the same problems and be rinse and repeat. Like I said, it'd be the same as changing a football manager. It really would. It really would. Sheepdog says, good point, Ninja Knight. Very true. Don't say it like they have an option. Just leave. Yeah. Mick keeps in here as well too, saying that normally wouldn't really follow the arrest of a politician. I think they would. I really do, Mick. I think people would say, yeah, we're in for that now, or we're up for that at all. Wouldn't be become an army talking point if it was arrest hand. It's too radical. That's what may be needed. You know? Start with the resign stuff for sure. But then it should go to the arresting of it. Like, why should we be tolerating this? We shouldn't. CST, even and all, bit late in. Hope everyone has that Friday fin and the Ninja Knight bug. Let's see here, man. Let's keep going here. Mick O'Keefe says, talk goes into every one of those hashtags. There's a good reason they're working. Calling for the arrest of a justice minister would never break through. Calling for resignation has broken through. I hear what you're saying, but I do think what's needed is an arrest. Like, that would definitely send shockwaves, and it would send a message for sure, and it would show that there's no more messing around with this. Like, we shouldn't be tolerating what's going on. And you know as well as I do that the next person that's going to go in there is going to do exactly the same. There's no fear of reprisals. Like, there's no fear of repercussions for these people. These people have gone without repercussions for far too long. And I think Joe Normie would get on board with the arresting of these people. I fully believe it. Fully believe it. People are talking about first allegedly speculated the shop. That wasn't bad. I got through about 40 minutes there, I think. I got through about 40 minutes. That's not bad. A lot of people chatting in the chat there now as we're going along. Knock amongst themselves. Love to see it. I'm only on the half, eh? Yikes. I'm going to have to fly through this, I will. It's a pity that there isn't like 3 different parts of StreamYard where they can go, like, these are the ads here now, and that'll get you to quicker. Fenolo Murkill, Ronnie Pickering, another Wellstone rider. 2 lads, huh? Oh, I'm Ronnie Pickering. The Wellstone rider. He was another bio as well, too. The fact that they made a song out of him is something else. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. People are talking, and particularly women in the chat there, about not going on walks anymore. CSD says Ninja Knight have subscribed to them. Lefty, me, tubers to keep tabs on them. So what you say about the algorithm recognizes something when they're blocked, okay, consider it done. For sure, it definitely has an effect. It definitely has an effect, I believe. That's why a lot of them are trying to crawl back over here now and trying to talk to people. Shouldn't. Mr. X says, love Tom. The man says it like it is. Ghost is my favourite of his song, though I love all his songs. He is also easy to understand. Yeah, he's phenomenal. I really like Tom McDonald. He's someone out there that's making music that says an awful lot. Fergus Power says, Ninja Knight says, tweet I put out last Friday about the cop Harrington is up to 337,000 views. Ferg was trending. Number 2, people want the truth, nationalism, and they wanted their country back. Let's give it to them. Erda Abil. Absolute legend. Absolute legend. I love to see that. I think that's absolutely unbelievable. The fact that it's making such headwaves, and I think, to be honest with you, it's been so important, man. You really have. Dan's mixtape is in here. Again, the subsequent weeks there, we've had the boys in here. It's great. We have to do a stream together. We have to do a stream we do where all the lads invite them in there into StreamYard. Dan's mixtape says, Derek Manis, I've noticed this myself, Derek, walking home to the train, to a shop, etc., and women actively stopping to let me walk past. They're that nervous. It's not a good situation to be in, you know. It's becoming like America now. I know what America's like, and it's very similar now, where women are looking at things. And I was only saying it earlier on, I've seen at least one video a week from women that are putting out things of like, I feel scared here, I feel unsafe. Look at this guy following me. Look at him following kids. You know, there's a couple of them that are out there that are fellas that are following kids around the place as well. So, like, the women, in fairness to them, they're using social media effectively, and it's the way to do it. It is 100% the way to go. People are keeping up with the allegedly speculative. 10-9, I did that next night. That's only 4th. That's not bad. Didn't do too bad now this evening. I think I hit a couple of them after that then. Allegedly speculative. You know, I have to bounce well, hobble. I'll catch the rest later. Have to call to a great patriot brother of mine in New Jersey. Us, the support we have worldwide is overwhelming. We will win there in Gabra. Legend, man. Good to see you. Great to see you here, man. Hope you're well. Kevin Coyle in here. Quavine says section 8 is a lot of nonsense. I agree. A lot of love for Ferg in the chat. Not a love for Ferg. People are saying goodbye to Ferg like 20 minutes after he's gone. Legend. I always be singing, says, hey Ferg, you definitely have American Yank support. What you're doing is so important. Ferg's power. Great to see that. I love to see that. It's such crossover as well too here from people. There's people looking at this from all over the world, by the way. So many people. If you're not subscribed to Ferg's power, by the way, that's him there. Go over and subscribe to him. He obviously has a YouTube channel, but he should be putting content up. Ferg, get it done. Do it. It'd be unbelievable. And that's him over there. Make sure you subscribe to him. And Dan's mixtape that's in there as well too. Make sure you subscribe to him. These lads are all doing stellar stuff. The Irish Inquiry, Derek Bloy, Satirical Soldier, Phil Dwyer. I don't think Phil's on YouTube anymore. I think he's predominantly on Twitter. Satirical Soldier as well. Irish Git as well. Enderline Joe says, Ninja Knight, please don't make the distinction between who white and Irish. They are one and the same. Very true. Very true. Very true. Let's keep going on in the chat there. Brazilian fella on a bike arrested in charge of thousands of euro of stuff. Only in Ireland 2 days as a tourist. He's obviously working as a courier. Yeah, like, I mean, that's well known now, to be fair. But the Deliveroo lads are up to... No, not all of them, you know, but they're shenanigans. Shenanigans afoot, is what I'd say. Shenanigans afoot. People are saying, is Ninja gone? Who's that? Butterfly. 9:10. I hope that all was good. Barry says a lot of meat in supermarkets is halal. Small logo on package, you'd hardly notice. Yep. Absolutely. You'll see a lot more shops popping up, by the way, particularly kebab shops. Germany is absolutely rampant with them. Rampant. And they're all beside each other, which I think is weird. I think it's weird. You know, the fact that they're like next door. And that's in Germany. Very weird. Lisa Sheridan says, I was tortured by Romans living in the apartment when Nimi couldn't take her anymore on Christmas Day 2022. I called to the door and asked them to lower the music. We go from there. The BBC, by the way, commenting on Ireland. People are correctly saying, hey, look, what's going on with Andrew Tate as well, too, what they did with him. Yeah, exactly. Lisa Sheridan is saying about an assault that took place, about someone attacking her from the Rome community. Saying that people did nothing when it came to the police. Let's have a look. Jason Irish Red says, Ninja, Canada have a player who was non-male, non-female, non-binary, transformer, who was allowed to still play in the women's team. Well, that's not going to end well. Not going to end well at all. It's like that deal that was playing the rugby with the women. And the women got, I think it was a 3 of them or 4 of them got injured. It's like, well, that's going to be a common trend, lads. Let's keep going here. People talking about ADHD in the chat there. Liz Pepper also a payment for parents with a diagnosis of ADHD and so on. Sean Max has hyperactive children who all grow over. Yeah, I knew loads of people that had, like, you know, they'd probably have 15 labels attributed to them nowadays. But, like, they were just like a bit off when they were younger. Very, very much so were helped by the years. Who was that there? Frank Barron says Lynn Rowan's daughter, Jordan Jones, supposed actress, was given out about people not believing her autism in 2022. What a bizarre complaint. Well, when it comes to these things here, lads, you know, there's a lot of weird things going on. And you get a lot of people that are online now that tell you that they're autistic so that you can use it as a shield when you criticize them, because loads of them are interested in the Doubtfire agenda. And you're like, this is nonsense, you're off. And they're like, are you criticizing my autism? And you're like, listen, couldn't care less about what you think you are or what you're thinking, but that's ridiculous what you're saying. Sheepdog says Dottie was a closer look ninja. Yep. Sean Max says Fox has partial facial paralysis on the lower right side of his face and slight on his mouth. People talking about the deep face. Yeah, this Jamie Foxx thing, lads, like, interesting to see. SGD, look at the ears. The original Jamie's ears stick out more than the new one. In the eyes, they don't lie. Has anyone seen that movie? I should have said it at the time when I was talking about it. But has anyone seen that movie, The Sixth Day? Stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is ironic considering the position that Arnold Schwarzenegger got into. And, like, to me, spells it out in the first 15 minutes. They have a football player, and I'm like, that's shades of Damar Hamlin there, lads. This football player is like their top quarterback or whatever it is, I can't remember. Johnny Phoenix, I think, was the name of the character. It was a weird name like that. I always remember. And your man gets flipped into the air and lands in the neck, and they tell him, they tell the company basically, listen, this fella won't play again. So they get rid of him, and then they clown him, and then they stick him in, and like, Johnny Phoenix is back, lads, he's all good. And that's it. That's the premise of the movie then. And then it's like, well, if you haven't seen the movie, have a look at it. Your eyes will be open then after. CST says, Ninja, have you seen the two lads doing hand sanitizers for the alcohol? Yeah, I saw that. Oh, stop. That's absolutely hilarious. I saw that video and I was just like, it says it all, lads. And those videos are doing serious views, by the way. Whoever put that up, I was like, that's great to see. I love seeing people's view count go through the roof like that. I love seeing it. But yeah, it's a very clear indication as to what's happening here in this country with fellas just coming in gargling around the place, you know. Evan Barr says, Ninja Knight, resign is the easy get out clause for McEntee and her ilk, and they keep their pensions. Yeah. I can't, like, I get on board with that for the trend from that point of view. But I think they need to be arrested, man. I think it sends more of a message. And like that, I think when you're calling for the arrest and the arrest doesn't happen, I think it's going to show people even further, hey, hang on here now, there's out there stuff going on. And it's just being permitted. People talking about the homeless. Jason Irish says, Derek McManus, Ninja Knight, I seriously can't believe it is because of the government want to show off the world to what we're doing for these refugees, even when it's at the expense of our own people. A lot of people have a lot of love for Derek Bloig as well in the chat there. Good to see. Zarowski says, good on him. Absolutely, for sure. Sheepdog says, loving your own country and people is now unacceptable in the minds of the fools that will ultimately self-hate more. That's a great comment there, Sheepdog, because you get people that are out there, and I had a conversation with some moron on Twitter during the week, and I was just like, you're a fool. And they were like, I thought you were all about the Irish people. And I was like, I don't consider you Irish when you're deciding to traitor. Behave like a traitor. I was like, that's it. Like, game's over for you. Like, not interested in that. But see, this is the problem with these people. They think they're so superior. They think that their opinion trumps all. We should have open borders. We should, because I say so. And if you don't think so, well, then that means that you're not for all the Irish people. Hang on here. 75% of this country agree with what I'm saying. I'm for the majority, but the other remaining 25%, good luck to you. Go. You can go over and live somewhere more diverse. Head on. No one's stopping you. No one is stopping you. Sheepdog's not a fan of what went on there in Galway. Don't like the sound. Derek Mann says, don't go to Witherspoon, the English company that sold out the majority of their branches in an overnight deal to a businessman who was bankrolled by the certain people back in the Troubles, apparently, legislatively. People talking about pubs and stuff like that now in the chat. Pubs are on the way out. You've got CST said, did you see the video from last year where the woman punched a man who was saying a prayer and the police grabbed her by the throat? So they react differently today. Yep. They would, for sure. Let's keep going here now through the chat there. Lloyd Carroll says, howdy y'all. Jerry Son of Mick says, the fallen angel times. Refuse Nick Sean says, the use cloud seeding in the Vietnam War. A lot of people have been saying that as well too about Oppenheimer. They're like, there's some people out there that are saying that what happened there in Japan was actually essentially, what do they call it, like a massive napalm. They were like, nothing existed to the way it was. And I was like, now that's gone down the rabbit hole big time now. I haven't got the time to do that at the moment. But, you know, I saw an article last week and it was just like, basically, Oppenheimer should have been portrayed by Zelensky, Ben Stiller, Seth Rogen type character, shall we say, not by an Irishman. I was like, this is probably something you should step away from, lads. You should not highlight that. Should step all the way away from that, lads. Barry Challow Manor says, all the businesses I see are closed and being taken over by foreign people getting grants and tax breaks the Irish residents entitled to. Look at Moore Street, for example. Moore Street's all over the joint. Jason Irish Red says, Ninja Knight, it is pronounced the same as Jurassic, but with a TH instead of J. I can't remember what I was talking about then. Tangent says, Ninja Knight does the same time on a Friday night as a certain "oh, go away" clown for free. Think about that, license payers. Yeah, that's it. You know, I'm doing my thing here, and the late, or wherever you're talking about, whatever it might be. I don't have any interest in any of these people anymore. I'm just doing my own thing, and there's decent viewers that come in here. Like, you know, it's great. It's great to see. It's good to see. It really is. It's always consistent. The numbers are always consistent in here, which I'm very happy with. 3,000 views the last stream got. It's at 3,100. Like, it's doing exceptionally well. So thank you to everybody that's watching. I really appreciate that. Michael D. Hobbit, Frodo Higgins, people are calling him. Kim Griffin allegedly speculated Charlie was also hosted in the park in June. People aren't big fans of Michael D. Higgins in the chat, which I understand. Jerome Reedy says, Ninja Knight, did you notice there are showing pics of refugees cleaning the towns in high-vis photo ops? They'll try anything now, they will. Get the lads to work there, making a point there and helping out the area. CSC says, Ninja Knight mods, Sean Mac there, commands, thank you. Have a good weekend, Tal. Absolutely, thanks very much. And a big shout out to the mods, by the way. Rocket says, Ninja, thank you for the stream. You're very welcome. Ninjas watches Love Island. Not a chance. There's actually no money in the world that you could pay me to watch that nonsense. David White says, cheers, Ninja. Great roundup and hi on the chat. Good to see you here, man. Thanks very much. Lisa Sheridan says, Dr. Sharma from Wexford Hospital passed suddenly 2 days after Voldemort. He was 27. Male nurse in Wexford Hospital passed 6 weeks after Voldemort in his 30s. Yeah, these things, and delighted that you're bringing it up there, by the way, Lisa, because these things can't be forgotten, and this stuff is all slipping by at the same time, you know? It really is. And it's abhorrent that they're trying to shut it down and trying to close people off from asking what's going on, and it's clear as the nose in your face, I believe. Sheepdog says, Dan's mixtape is beyond anything better, I hear from any media. Ninja Knight, keep it up, Dan. Your work is invaluable, Dan. Jish Knight Shred says, Ninja Knight, Ferg Power is the king of Ireland. Ferg is down great. MHK says, Kebab use cash, reason they don't. Yeah, possibly. Mars Bar 123. Oh my god, Ninja, it's only telling me you're live now. Love your work, keep it up. Hello everyone in the chat. That's not my fault, unfortunately. That's the platform, dude. You know, all I can say is apologies for that one. Frank Brennan says, Arnold, screw you off for you dumb. That's actually what he said. He was like, screw you off for you dumps. What did your dad do, Arnie? Be keeping that to yourself. If I was you, I'd be keeping that to yourself. All right, guys. You're Frank Barron. You're insulting Frodo. Yeah, Frodo was useful. You're a fella out, not useful at all. All right, guys. Look after yourselves. Have a good weekend. Enjoy. Good luck.